Warning. You're now entering a stream that isn't suitable for everyone. Be warned that this channel will have swearing, singing, sexual innuendos and lots of jokes that could easily offend. It is advised that you must be a little bit weird yourself to enjoy this channel, as those that thrive and enjoy the stream are weird in their own little ways. The chat is called El Chatty and is a wonderful community. It really is. However, again, it might not be for everyone. We want to hear everyone's opinion, no matter what it is. We encourage debate as long as it's done respectfully. If you're easily offended or don't like differing views, then again, this channel is not for you. By entering this stream you do so at your own risk. If you want to try it out, that's absolutely fine, but if you don't like it, no need to announce your departure, you can just leave quietly, as this isn't an airport.
Memberships again. Thank you so much for that. Hey, also, hey, hang on.
Oh my God! Oh Jesus Christ! Oh my God! What the hell happened? I'll never get this back up. Oh.
No, are you okay? Are you okay?
Hold on, Jesus. All right, listen. You got me on the mic?
Yes.
All right. Give me 2 seconds. I'll be back. I don't know what the hell I did.
It's all right.
I'm like Turtle Boy. He had an accident too.
Yeah, we all
give me 2 seconds. I'll be back.
No worries.
Dana's a speedo man. Dana's a speedo man. Dana loves speedo. He loves his speedo. Dana's a speedo man. Dana. Press the like, press the like, press the like, please. Press the like and subscribe. It would mean the world to me if you liked and subscribe. Like and subscribe, everyone. Let's fucking go.
Oh, hello. How are we? How is everybody? Hope you're all well out there. It's a Monday. Whew. It's a Monday already. Wow. Weekend's gone, flown by. Don't know where it's gone though. Robin G, hello, my darling. How are you? Good morning to you as well, my darling. Carol, good morning to you. Oh, I think Crystal was here early because it's not on my list here, but good morning to Crystal as well. Good morning, Disney Queen. Good morning, Kelly, as well. The Sweeney. Hey, it's the Sweeney. I think Dennis is going with Larry for roast beef today. Brenda and Dennis are going to get some beef with Larry. Larry called me. I missed it. I was going to call him back, but he didn't answer. So I don't know. Hello, Joe. How are you, my darling? Happy Halloween week. Is it Halloween week? Is it? Oof. I don't celebrate Halloween, so I didn't know. I knew Halloween was sometime, but did not realize that. So thank you for that, Joe. Crystal, good morning, my darling. How are you? Dana Leonard, how are you, sir? Hope you're well. Just a reminder tomorrow that Dana and Tracy, Resistant to Silence, have got the Galera on at 6:30 Eastern. So the Galera is on. So they keep like big hitters every single week. Hit. I think they've got a bit of a down week next week. Next Tuesday is a bit of a downward spiral. It's like they rise in like a roller coaster. Then, next week, their guest is going to bring them right down. Now, this is Larry. Right, hang on. La.
What's going on?
All right, I'm on stream, yeah?
You're on screen?
I'm on stream, so you're on stream.
I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. I just didn't want you to like say something. Well, I was going to say something inappropriate, but I mean, I think we've crossed that already.
Yeah. I was just calling to say hello.
Yeah, I tried to ring you back. I was in the shower. I had a busy morning this morning. I had to go this playpen thing for my nieces. So yeah, I had a shower and then literally tried to call you back, and I had to start streaming. So. Sorry, buddy. I love your, not without giving everyone else the info, I love your new chair, by the way. I meant to tell you.
Thank you.
I loved it.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's good. I loved it. I think that you got a bargain there, to be honest with you. So.
Yeah.
But, right.
Well, you're at work. I'll let you go and I'll talk to you later.
All right, cheers, lot. See you, buddy. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Yeah. Right, that was Larry, everybody. I mean, me saying don't say anything inappropriate. That's gone. That's gone with Larry. Do you know what I mean? That's gone. Morning, Josie, hot mama. How are you, my darling? Nice to see you. Hippie chick, hello to you, my darling. Christine Vardinato, hello. How are you, Christine? How are you, my darling? Greg, how are you, sir? Good morning, Skipper. Good morning to you, sir. Jane, hello to you. Who is expected to testify today? I do not know. It's a defense case, so I have no idea. Defense, it all is now. Lady Di, hello. There you go. Our favourite is next week. The favourite is going to bring you right down. You're building block, Glera. You're hitting high notes, Dana. Then you decided to bring it all back down, crashing down next week. That's me. I'm on with the Resistant Silence next week. I can't wait to be on with Dana and Tracy. Keith. Jen's our favourite, but we still like Keith. Hello, sir. How are you? Nice to see you, buddy. Dana Leonard. Who is that? It's me, Jane. I was taking the Mickey. They've gone from the Glera to me in a week's time. Hello to you, Kim. How are you, my darling? Nice to see you. Oh, court is, just so you know, court is there, but they're not there yet. So, but you might prefer, hang on. You might prefer this. Hang on, let me see. Dana's a Speedo man. Dana's a pumpkin man. Dana's the pumpkin man. Dana loves pumpkins. He loves his pumpkins. Dana's a pumpkin man. Dana. There he is. Dana's a great sport. So, right. Hang on. Where are we here now? Where are we now? Good day, Esmeralda, Highlander 99. Good day to you. Are you changing your name or something? How are you, my darling? Hope you're well. Very disturbing. It's what he does. It's what he wears, Kim. It's what he wears. This is Dana in real life, people. This is him in real life. I'll cover him up a little bit for you now. So, let me do that then and get this up so we can all see court. Yeah, how was everyone's weekend? I said I got my nieces staying. Well, between me and my parents, they're staying with us, three of them. One of them's working most days. The other one, she's working tomorrow. But they work in this like a restaurant / play area, kind of thing, indoor play area. Which is great for them. I went there today with them by 9 o'clock this morning. Well, jeepers, there were hundreds of kids there, and I was like, oh my jeepers. It was tough going. My 4-year-old loved it, obviously, but it's tough going. But then we had brunch together. My parents came along for brunch as well, and then rushed back to come back to do the stream. Obviously, you've gone an hour. You're an hour. Well, now. You're 4 hours behind in Eastern EST. When normally you're 5 hours. So today it's 1 o'clock, 1:10 now. When normally it's 2:10. So that shortened my time. So I had to jump in the shower, wash my bits, get back out, missed Larry's call, and jumped on. Whew, it's been a busy day. There you go. Well done, and well done on voting, Esmeralda. Kid will give you extra candy for that, Dana. But it was wild school vacation. It was wild. I'm talking about 100, and they work there all through the holidays. My nieces do, and they say it's very busy. And this nice spot is a cafe and a latte, but the noise, kids screaming, it was just too much. Yeah, it's nice. Don't worry, the kids loved it, but it was a lot. It was a lot. And I had to be there because I was the adult, obviously. So, hello, Robin G. How are you? So, yeah, I'm a bit flustered today. Literally, rinse. Done. You know the score, Dana. It's just literally a quick squirt, done. Washing your bits didn't take long. See, when me and Dana were on the same wavelength, yeah? Smaller the better. That's the benefit of being small. Be just quick. Small area, done. So, but then my gut comes in the way then, and that's a bigger area. It takes a bit more time to wash my gut. Then that was an awesome stream of Dina on Friday. Yeah, I'm so behind on these streams. This chat was so fun. For the Halloween party. I gotta watch that. Okay. Dana loves it. There's so much stream I need to catch up on. It's unbelievable. I didn't catch up on anything. I was sleeping most of the weekend, trying to anyway. Oh, but yeah, we are. So obviously, Sarah Boone found guilty. Leilani Simon found guilty. 2 slam dunk guilties. I mean, there's no surprise in any of them. Do you know what I mean? They're both slam dunk guilties. This one, though, is more intriguing. So I'm not sure how this one's going to go. I would say how this one's going to swing. But when I say swing, Dana gets swinging. Hey, swing along. So, I'm not sure how this one's going to swing. To the left, to the right. All right. No pop darts. No pop darts. Oh, for Sarah, right? Okay. We were cracking up. When she put us in her shirt, the moments. The moments we were saying, I need to watch that with Dina. She's great. Rocking around the Christmas tree. I think it's 7 or 8 Mondays before Christmas, so I'm in the Christmas mood. Rocking around the Christmas tree. Free. Will there be peanut butter cups? Free. I'm not. Oh, for Kim. Yeah. So I like peanut butter cups, but we don't have them many here. I mean, I think people said the rebuttal was good for Boone, but everything else, the trial stuff was crap, allegedly. Not that I watched any second of it, but the rebuttal was quite good, apparently. So, Leilani, well, I mean, but again, both were slam dunk guilty. So, I mean, I'm glad we didn't waste our time. But this trial is intriguing. I'm pleased the way we did this. I know there's other people now starting to do this to try and catch up with it. It's like, you missed the boat. We chose the right trial, I think. Not the most popular trial, I will give you that, because I think there's only like 2 or 3 of us who are streaming it. But yeah, I see the other streamers started to stream it now as well, because I think they know it's good. With, as I say, with Boone and Leilani, they're both slam dunks guilty, so I'm glad we chose this one. Really am glad. I need to try the Reese's Cups, because I like Reese's Cups. Lumping around the Christmas tree. I'm a Christmas guy, Dana. I'm not a Halloween guy or anything like that. I'm just a Christmas guy. So I think you're a Christmas guy as well. Is that better? Oh, Sherry Berry. Hello to you, Sherry Berry. Good morning to Dylan Mods and chat. Good morning to you, Sherry Berry. Oh, who's this then? She's the first witness. I'm glad we chose this one too. Lady Di, I agree, my darling. I look at Dana's titties for one last time before I cover them. And I'll put myself up here. Let's go. I'm ready to see what the defense is going to bring here. Allegedly, approximately 2 days they're going to take. Allegedly. Deb's not here yet, but Deb, I'm boosting it for you, my darling, for when you do get here. So the court is muted. Before you start shouting, mute, mute. No, it's the court that's muted, not me. I'm a Christmas guy. I decorate the entire house inside and out. Tracy just shakes her head as she does with much side. But I'm not a decorator, if I'm being honest. I'm not a decorator, Dana. I just like the music, the spirit, the food, the kids, what they do and stuff like that. I like the movies. I like, but I'm not a. The reason I'm not a dressing the house up guy is because it saddens me when you have to take it down. It saddens me. If I could leave it up all year long, all year, then I would. It wouldn't bother me then. I'd leave Christmas decorations up all day, every day. But I can't, so I can't be asked to put decorations up. I've seen your pictures. It is great. I look forward to seeing your pictures again. I'm a Christmas person. Crystal says Easter, Thanksgiving. I'm not a Halloween person. There you go. I've started to be a Thanksgiving person. Last year I made Thanksgiving dinner. This year I'm making Thanksgiving dinner as well. And that's in about a month's time, I think. So new Reese's with caramel and chocolate. Oh, I need to try these, people. I'm a fatty, so I like all this stuff. I only decorate for fall. Okay, fair enough. I can't have a Christmas tree this year. My dog will eat it. Boxers. Ooh. No. No, 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 there's no limit. Jury, 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 jury are coming in. No, she doesn't stand for the jury. She sits there on her own. Lack of respect. Melody, she sits all the time. She never stands for the jury. No, 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 no. Oi.
While y'all were in the jury room, you may have peered out the window and watched the cars circle the parking lot all morning. There is no parking anywhere around. Tracy had to park across town because we have another jury trial week here. And we're going to probably lose our second jury room that y'all are using. They told us lunchtime, but I know they won't have a jury selected by lunchtime. So we'll use it for lunch, but then we may have to find another accommodations if we do lunch in later in the week. But we'll try to figure that out. The building is full. So anyway, that's a whole nother day and a half rant that I could go on. But anyway, with that. We'll skip that for now. All right, Mr. Weaver, go ahead and call your next witness.
Thank you. We call Joanne Warfield. Please raise your right hand. Do you so solemnly swear or affirm that in the matter pending before this court, you will tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Right, lower your hand. Please state and spell your name for the record.
My name is Joanne Hill, Joannhill.
All right, Ms. Hill, I want to briefly talk. I don't think this is going to be very long. I just want to discuss a email relationship or text message relationship that you were in with Gary Farris back in 2018. All right, could you tell me how that started, how you met him?
In January of 2018, he gave me his business card and asked me to call him.
Okay.
And then I ran into him multiple times, but in March.
Let me slow down.
Okay.
Did you guys, where did y'all work? Were y'all in the same building?
Yes, we worked in different law firms in the same building.
Okay, and where was that?
At Wells Fargo building at Atlantic Station.
Okay. All right, so go back to the phone calls.
And then he asked me to call him. I didn't call him. I ran into him in March, and he asked me to call him again. And eventually in May, I sent him an email.
Okay, do you remember what that email said?
Something to the effect that here's your elevator friend reaching out.
Okay. Did he respond to you? Did he comment on did he call you pretty, things like that?
Yes.
Could you explain that to the jury? To the best of your memory.
He would pass me and then text me later on and say that he saw me and I looked good.
Okay. So did you believe that Gary was attempting to start a relationship with you?
Possibly,
something
possibly, or just get to know me.
Okay. There was some discussion, was there not? I believe you told Detective Kuykendall that you would have pursued a relationship, but I think you kept using these words, extenuating circumstances.
Mm-hmm.
What did that mean?
I thought maybe if they were separated, or maybe if he had a wife that was terminal in a hospital type thing.
Okay. What did he tell you?
Well, when that conversation took place about him being married, the doors opened. He did say he was married, and then the elevator doors opened. There was somebody standing there, and he didn't get to finish.
Okay. Did he wear a wedding ring?
No.
Okay. So you had no idea he was married.
Right.
So my question is that did he hold himself out like he was married or not?
It's hard to tell through the brief times we would run into each other on the elevator or in the lobby.
Okay. And earlier he asked you to send him some pictures of yourself.
No.
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 Okay. But he did call you pretty in messages and emails, yes?
Yes.
Okay. And you guys were continually talking from January of 2018 all the way to his death?
By running into each other. Text messages didn't start until May. I was sort of avoiding that because he was married. I had found out 2 different times he was married, once in March, and then so I wasn't pursuing that, but we would casually run into each other from time to time.
Would y'all take smoke breaks together?
No.
Okay. Did you know his paralegal, Angela Phillips?
I knew who she was.
Okay. Do you ever remember telling her that Gary was cute?
No, I've never talked to her.
Okay. Any of your friends that would have told Angela that?
That he was cute?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think so. No.
Okay. Did you tell any of your other friends that you were trying to pursue a relationship with Gary?
No. I mean, I was interested in if he was married or not.
Okay. 1 second, Ron. That's all, Your Honor.
Ms. Farris.
Good morning. Mr.
Hi.
Gordon. It's Ms. Hill,
Yes.
right? Okay. My name's Megan Frankish.
Hi.
You don't work at Byrne Foreman,
I do not.
but at one point you possibly became interested in Gary Farris,
I did.
and he didn't wear a wedding ring, so you inquired to see if he was in fact married,
Correct.
and you exchanged some flirtatious messages with Mr. Farris at one point.
Yes.
But you never met up in person?
No,
Did you ever meet up outside of work?
no,
Did you ever become physical with Mr. Farris?
no.
In fact, you were informed after inquiry that he was in fact married,
Mm-hmm. Yes.
and you brought that to him as an
Yes.
issue for you. And his response was, "That's the right thing to do." Yeah, you have to
Yes,
speak out loud.
yes.
The defense has been characterizing your flirtation with Mr. Farris as an affair. Would you characterize it as that?
Absolutely not.
That's all I have for you. Thank you.
All right. You
No
redirect?
follow-up, Judge.
All right, thank you, ma'am. You can be excused.
Okay.
We call John Lambert. If you just don't walk it. Right up there. Just stand before you sit down. Sorry. Sir, raise your right hand. You swear in front of me any testimony you give before this court will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? I do. All right, have a seat. And when you get comfortable, state your name for the record.
John Lambert.
And Mr. Lambert, what do you do?
I work for a home automation, low voltage contractor, doing smart home technology.
How long have you done that for?
Probably 20 years.
Where's it located out of?
Current company is located in Atlanta.
Okay. Where do you live?
I live in Forsyth County and Cumming.
Okay. Do you ever do security installs and things
Yes.
such as that in Cherokee County?
Yes, sir.
Are you aware of the property 2155 Purcell Lane?
Yes, we didn't do the original install. We've only serviced it, but yes, I'm familiar with the property.
When did you start servicing that property? I know it was a long time ago, so best.
Yeah, maybe 2012-ish, best guess.
Okay, so presumably around the time they bought the property, to the best of your knowledge.
Yeah, it's been a few years.
Did you service that property around 2017?
Yeah, sometime around the end of 2016, 2017.
Did you ever have any interaction with Gary Farris?
Yes.
How about Scott Farris?
If that's his youngest son, I don't know the family very well. I know the last visit I was there, his one son was just back from the service, came back from the military. If that's Scott,
You don't know a name?
I don't know. I don't know any names.
Okay, so we'll just clear that up a little bit.
Yeah.
You're aware there is a son who was in the service, and he was the youngest son.
Correct.
Okay. Did this person, this youngest son, did they live on the property?
I think he was above the barn or something on the property.
Okay. Did you ever have any interaction with him?
That one visit, yeah.
Okay. Well, we'll go ahead and just jump in real quick. Tell the jury what your interaction with. Well, let me ask you this first. Did you ever have any interaction with Gary and the youngest son together while they were together?
Yeah, that one time on the last visit, I was at the house.
All right. And tell the jury what that visit was like.
I mean, it was a little weird. I can't remember what they were bickering about, but they were kind of bickering about something. And I have kids. I bickered with my parents. It happens, but I would never do it in front of somebody working in my house or somebody that wasn't in the family. So I just thought that was weird. That's all.
All right. Do you recall any statements that the other son made?
Not word for word, not exactly, but it was something like he couldn't wait for them to go, both of them to go, so he can just have that property to himself. Something to that effect. Again, it was over 6-7 years ago. So,
okay. Did this interaction between Gary and the youngest son, did it cause you any concern?
It felt weird. I just thought it was a little bit weird. At the time, no, but and then after I heard the news, it made me think of it, and that's when I reached out to a friend to say, "Hey, just have the detective call me," so I just say say my last interaction with him.
So after you initially heard about there being a death on the property, you had made some type of contact to law enforcement?
Yes.
Okay. And were you ever interviewed by law enforcement?
It was over the phone, quick phone call. I believe that was it.
Was it one of the Cherokee County deputies?
Yeah.
Do you know? Okay.
Yeah, I don't remember his name. It was one of the Cherokee detectives.
Okay. And you also told the deputy something about hearing gunshots.
Correct.
Okay. Can you tell the jury about that?
Yeah, it was, I guess it was July 3rd, 2018. And I don't remember if it was 9 or 10. It was a little bit later, 9 or 10 o'clock. It wasn't fireworks. It was just a couple gunshots. Weird at the time. I would say maybe 10 o'clock, 9 o'clock. I don't remember exactly.
Okay, that's perfectly fine.
But
now, where were you staying at when you heard these gunshots?
I was at my ex-girlfriend's house, which is about a mile away from the Farris's house.
All right. And did those gunshots that you heard cause you any concern to contact law enforcement?
At the time, no. It's North Cherokee County. You hear gunshots once in a while. In Forsyth County, you hear gunshots once in a while. Just that close to that late at night was just a little weird. But at the time, no.
Okay. And did you also hear any fireworks about that time?
Not around the same time, but that night, I'm sure either earlier or later that night there was fireworks.
And going back to when you were at the residence, did you ever see any type of odd behavior between Gary and Melody Farris?
Not that I could recall. I think I maybe saw Melody once or twice in all the visits over there, and nothing that I could.
Okay. So the only interaction between any of the family members that you saw that gave you any concern was between Gary and Scott?
I just thought I had a weird feeling from it. That's all. But,
okay.
But,
No further questions, Judge.
Thank you, Your Honor. Police Court. Mr. Lambert, how are you this morning?
I'm good. Yourself?
Pretty good. You don't want to be here, do you?
I don't think anybody does, but
yeah. Never thought you'd come in and be testifying in a murder case, would you?
No, I mean, when I talked to the detective in 2018, that's the last I'm not a big person on the news. I have no idea until I got subpoenaed a few weeks ago and totally forgot about it.
Right. Well, you agree with me that you just had a gut feeling something was just not right, so that's why you contacted law enforcement?
Well, between hearing the gunshots and the interaction I had the year before, and it being in Gary Farris, was limited interactions, only services, maybe 4 or 5 times been to his house to services. So, but he was always a nice, genuine, great guy. Right.
You just want to give law enforcement any information that you had, right?
Yeah.
And it was those gunshots that concerned you, wasn't it?
Yeah. It was unusual.
It was unusual that night, and you were you were a little north. You were staying in a home a little north of the Purcell Lane, Scott and Gary's residence.
Correct.
And Scott's who we're talking about, the son that was there.
I don't know the family members' names. The youngest son that just
the one who lived there, right?
Yeah,
Worked on the property. Yeah, that's Scott.
Yeah.
Tall guy.
Yeah, tall.
Yeah, and you agree with me that they were not about to get in a fist fight or anything like that?
No.
In fact, I think when I asked you on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being fisticuffs, 1 being nothing, you said it was around a 1.
Yeah, I mean, parents bicker with kids. The only thing that I just felt weird doing it in front of. Right. First time meeting me doing it, like if I argue with my kids, it would be with my kids and nobody else in front of no.
I mean, you're not saying that.
No, but it was just.
You agree with the parents and children argue, right?
Of course, yeah.
And sometimes we argue with our parents in situations where we may not want to. We go back on and look and say, well, maybe I shouldn't have said that with other people around.
Of course,
like yeah. But you never felt like Scott was threatening his dad or anything, did you?
No.
Never felt like it was a violent incident or anything like that, right?
No.
It's just when you knew that there was a murder on the property with Gary and you knew what you knew and then you heard those shots, you felt like you should just contact law enforcement, right?
That's it. It's just maybe think back to that last visit there, which I hadn't even thought about until I heard the news and say, hey, let me just at least,
fair enough.
Now,
those gunshots, that was Tuesday, July 3rd, 2018, around, I think it was 9 or 10 o'clock.
Sometime around then, yeah.
And it was 3-4 shots. You remember how shots you heard?
It was a couple. If I have it written down when I talked to the detective back then, it's over, 6 years. I don't recall now exactly what it was. If it was written down on whatever I spoke to the detective back then, pretty sure it was a couple, maybe 2. I don't remember for sure.
But it was such a time of night that was odd that gunshots were being fired then, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't hunting time or shooting time or anything like that, right?
Yeah, and I don't know what shooting time is or when hunting season is, but Cherokee County, Forsyth County, you hear gunshots once in a while. Just
But not when it's
do,
night.
Not
like
not
that.
yeah, not when I'm laying in bed at night. It was a little late.
You agree with me? Is those gunshots that gave you concern that you called law enforcement?
Yeah, but once I heard that they found Gary, that's when I wanted to say, hey, I heard gunshots at night. I wanted to talk to somebody, just let them know I did hear gunshots that night.
No, thanks for doing that. We appreciate it. Have a nice day. Okay.
Thank you.
Two follow-up questions.
All right.
Mr. Mayor, to the best of your ability, can you recall to the jury what you remember Scott saying?
I can't tell you what they were arguing about, whether it was taking care of the property. I really don't remember, but he said something to the effect that, when his parents go, can't wait to just take over the place. Something to that effect. Again,
Not a quote.
I'm trying. Yeah, it was something to that effect, but I can't remember exactly from 6 years ago what was said.
I completely understand. Last thing is, when you heard these supposed gunshots on July 3rd, were you, first, how far away is your residence approximately?
About a mile.
Okay. Were you inside or outside of the home?
Inside, and it's an older home that was built in like the 20s, which doesn't have much insulation and with old windows. It was an older home, so there wasn't. Yeah, that's all you hear every noise in the house.
Okay,
from outside.
No problem. But you were inside.
Yes, sir.
Okay. No further questions, sir.
All right, you can be excused. Thank you, sir.
Okay, very quickly, what's it that? Rhode Island, this is for you, Rhode Island. Pen blwydd hapus I ti, pen blwydd hapus I ti, pen blwydd hapus, Mr. Rhode Island. Pen blwydd hapus I ti, pip hooray, pip hooray, hip hip. All right, happy birthday to Mr. Rhode Island. And with that, thank you as well to Deb for the coffees, 5 coffees. Thank you, my darling. So happy birthday to Mr. Rhode Island, and thank you so much for the 5 coffees and for your continued support, my darling. Thank you so much, Deb. I really do appreciate it. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. So there you go, and then we go back to the trial. But yeah, happy birthday to everybody that's celebrating today. We're going back. We've not missed anything. So I think they went to a quick sidebar. So people panicking, oh my God, we're missing stuff. No, we're not. We're not. Hello, Lisa Reed. How are you, my darling? Hello, Lady E. Hello, my darling. Spacey Stacey. Hello, my darling. How are you? It's the voice tremble for me. Stacey. Lisa. Hi, Lisa. Amy. Morning. From Joe to everybody. Lisa Reed. Hi, Spacey Stacey. There you go. Again, thank you to you, Rhode Island. Deb. And again, happy birthday to Mr. Rhode Island. Mr. Rhode Island, he's retiring on Friday. Yeah. I also know that Mr. Rhode Island retiring on Friday. On Saturday, that's when Deb hands over the to-do list for him to do for the next 20 odd years. So good luck, Mr. Rhode Island. Good luck to you, sir. Jeepers, this guy's slow.
Just before you sit down, just look at me. Okay. Don't sit down. Raise your hand. Please swear and affirm the testimony you give before the court will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
All right, put your hand down. Go ahead and you can have a seat. State your name for the record.
David Thomas.
All right. What do you do, Mr. Thomas? For a living.
I currently work for a food distribution company here in the Atlanta area. Also own my own company.
Okay. Do you know Ms. Farris?
I do.
How do you know her?
Through a close friend, Alan.
That Alan?
Yes.
Okay. And when did you meet Miss Farris?
I met her, I think it was in the end of October, November of 2018.
And you're aware of Gary Farris's death?
I am.
All right. How much did you interact with Melody after you met her in, what did you say, October?
At the end of October, the beginning of November.
Okay. In 2018?
Yes.
All right. How was Melody at that point in time?
As far as your first question, interaction, over a number of months after I first met her, we became really close as far as friends is concerned. And when I met her, she was at Alan's house, and I was renting a downstairs apartment at Alan's house. So I could tell upon the first time I ever met her that she was very depressed. And the interaction I had with her was that she was like, you know, this lady needs a friend. She needs somebody to talk to. She needs some hope. I didn't know the real details of her husband's passing, other than the fact that he'd been, you know, found in a burn pile, and that was about it.
And at that point in time, did you and Melody become friends?
Yes, we became friends. I slipped a note in her, inside of her open purse with my phone number, and I asked her to give me a call because at that time it was approaching Christmas time, and my friend Alan was fighting stage 4 pancreatic cancer. And I wanted to talk to Melody about that. And what I decided to do at that time, and it was my decision, is that I wanted to throw a Christmas party for Alan because I felt that Alan was extremely depressed. He'd already been through one surgery, was about to go to another surgery. He was on chemo, and basically Alan was at death's door.
Was Melody, I gotta break you up a little bit. Did you ask Melody to help you plan this Christmas party?
I did, and the reason I did that is because I didn't want to celebrate Christmas anymore. My dad died Christmas Day a few years earlier. And unfortunately, my mom also died at Christmas a few years later during the COVID crisis. But anyway, I asked Melody if she would be willing to help me, because I started thinking, okay, you've got 3 depressed people, Alan, myself, and Melody. And I said, Christmas is a time of joy. It's a time of celebration. And I wanted to get her to be involved. I wanted to give her some hope. I wanted to try to make her smile. And we both had one common goal. And that common goal was to lift the spirits of our friend, Alan.
What did y'all end up doing then, having the Christmas party?
We had the Christmas party. But Melody helped me to orchestrate it, to decorate the house. And basically, we had Alan to go away from the house. We had the neighbors and the family members to come over and decorate the entire house, including moving in a baby grand piano, having a Broadway star to come down the staircase inside, and having a band inside the house to play for the Christmas party. You know, I really blew it out. I didn't have a lot of money, but I did everything I could to try to surprise my friend.
Okay. And I'm assuming that you funded this Christmas party.
I funded this, yes.
Okay.
And, you know, it was Melody that stopped me from putting the nativity scene out front, because she did have a mule and some goats, and I decided that may be taking it too far. But anyway, she was a great help to me. It did help her to come out of her shell a little bit, and it lifted her spirits, but it also surprised and lifted the spirits of our friend. And
Did y'all remain friends after the Christmas party?
yes, we did.
Was there ever, because you had mentioned the baby piano, do you play the piano?
I do.
Was there ever an instance where you had to have Melody help you try to move a piano?
Yes. I'm a classically trained musician, and she helped me and the neighbors to move it into Alan's house. And then after the Christmas party was over, I think it was sometime in January, maybe the beginning of February, I needed to move the piano out of his house because he was trying to get ready to sell his house at that time. And I had no place to put the piano. I was also engaged to be married at that time, and I didn't know exactly where I was going to be living. I did not want to put the piano in just any rental unit in town. Melody said, well, why don't you just put it in my garage until you can figure out what to do with it.
Did you in fact move the piano into her garage?
I did move the piano into her garage. I borrowed a farm trailer that she had and moved it out to her farm. Alan could not help us unload it, and it was just me and Melody and Alan had just had surgery. So Melody and I were trying to get the piano off the trailer, and the trailer has, if I remember right, kind of a wire mesh on it like some of the rental trailers have. And it almost turned over, and she really had a hard time lifting it. I had a hard time lifting it, but we were able to finally get it off. And the piano weighs 400 or 500 pounds. So we were able to get it off and get it situated in her garage.
Okay. And that was mainly with your help?
My help. She helped to balance it, but it almost turned over because of how I had it on the rollers. And with a baby grand piano, you move it on its side with the legs off of it. There's a certain way to move these things, but it's a lot of weight.
And you rolled it?
And I rolled it, yes.
Okay. Are you familiar with Melody's children?
Say that again.
Do you know Melody's children?
I have met them, yes.
Okay. Which ones have you met?
I've met Amanda, Scott, and I've met the son-in-law, Chad.
When you were moving the piano into Melody's garage, did Scott come over?
Yes.
Okay. What happened with that?
We had moved the piano. I had backed the trailer up to the front of the garage, and we had moved the piano into the garage, and I was getting ready to leave, and I had disconnected the trailer from my car. And then out of the blue, Scott comes from the barn area where he was living, and he rushes up the road and he comes toward me. And I had never met him. I did not know who he was. And he was screaming and yelling at me and Alan and Melody. And basically Scott was screaming very loudly at me, like, why are you here? Who are you? What are you doing on this property? Like he owned the place or something. And
was
then
Melody there with you?
Yes, Melody was standing in a proximity of where I was. And he was screaming, don't you know there's been a murder here? Why are you here? And then he and his mother got into it. And I said, son, I'm sorry about your dad. I said, I've lost my dad, and I understand what it's like to lose a father, but I have nothing to do with this. Why are you yelling at me? Well, you don't understand. No one's supposed to be here. This is a murder scene. And I said, son, I'm sorry.
And just to clarify for the jury, what year was this?
This would have been probably 2019. This would have been after the Christmas party.
So sometime between January and February of 2019?
Yes.
Did Scott eventually just go back to the barn, or did he leave?
No, he kept hanging around there, and he was very, I don't like to talk about anybody that I don't know, but he was very out of control. I mean, to a point of where it was like, if I came up to you on the street and started yelling at you for no reason, that's the type of craziness that was going on.
Okay. Was that your first time at Melody's house at 2155 Purcell?
I think that was my second time, because I had been out there once before, I think with Alan, and it was for a Christmas, not really a Christmas dinner, but kind of a Christmas, come have some pie and cake type thing. Just the three of us, Alan, myself, and Melody. And I think there was another lady there. I don't know what her name was.
Did you ever have to help take care of the farm, feed the animals, or anything like that for Melody?
I did, but I want to say one other thing about the Scott situation, if I may.
Okay.
So when I got ready to leave, Alan was in his vehicle, I was in my vehicle. We got ready to leave the property. Scott followed me for 3.5 to 4 miles at a very high speed, and I couldn't understand why. And it made me upset and nervous. And I thought, why is this dude following me? What? I haven't done anything. And I called 911, and the only response I got from 911 was, what county are you in? Where are you? And I couldn't give them any information because I wasn't using GPS on my phone at that time. And the only way I got away from him was to make a right-hand turn at the very last moment. But it was very intense. And even to this day, I don't know why he was following me off the property.
Thank you for that.
Sure. What was your other question? I'm sorry.
Did you ever have an occasion to have to either assist Melody with taking care of doing farm chores or feeding the animals, anything like that?
I did know about all of her animals. She had chickens, she had goats, she had a mule that they called donkey, and she had probably three or four horses on the property, if I remember correctly.
Did you ever have to feed them?
I did feed them about 3 times. And after Melody was arrested, I went back out to the farm with her son-in-law, Chad, to change the locks on the house because there was an issue there where some things were coming up missing. And I went out, I told Chad, I said, something's wrong, something's not right. And Chad was a little bit hesitant for me to go out toward the barn area. And I said, Chad, I'm going out to look at the animals. And the donkey did not look healthy. The horses did not look healthy. And I went out there and the water troughs were all completely dry. They had not had any water for, I don't know how long, probably a few days. I put water in the water troughs, and the horses literally came running up toward me. The donkey came running toward me. There was no food. I ended up privately going and buying hay and food for the animals.
When was this?
This was right after she was arrested, and she wasn't at the property because it was just Chad and I, whatever the time period where.
So sometime the summer of 2019, does that sound about right?
Probably. But I went out there, I probably fed the animals 3 different times. I know I went to the fence, I think, and threw a bale of hay over. And I called animal control at least 3 times to get somebody out there. And I think there is something written up where I did call animal control.
Did you ever see, while you were out there tending to the animals, did you ever see Scott Farris out there?
No, it did not.
Okay. That's all I got, Judge.
Russ?
Thank you, Judge. Good morning, sir. How are you?
Good.
I'm Jeffrey Fergus. I think we talked on the phone several weeks before trial started. Is that right?
I think so, yes.
And you're in, not show business, that's wrong, media, is that right?
I spent 24 years in broadcasting.
Okay, what'd you do?
13 of those years I worked for NBC Nightly News, or a local affiliate in Birmingham, Alabama. And then I worked for a software broadcast company for a year. And then I spent 10 years at the Weather Channel as their main commercial coordinator.
All right. And I think you told me you won some awards and things?
I have 2 Emmy Awards for my writing. As far as that is concerned with the television station I worked for. And I don't know what else you want to know.
You enjoy the media and things like that?
I did at the time, up until the time that it was time for me to do something different with my life.
And fair to say that you have had lots of conversation with the defendant, Ms. Farris?
During the time that she and I were friends, from the time I met her to the time she was incarcerated.
So you've had lots of conversations with her?
Yes.
Okay. By phone calls?
In person and by phone calls.
Text messages?
Probably.
How many times do you think you text her between when you came back into her life until today? If I was to look in your phone or your history, how many text messages are between you two?
During that time that I knew her, I have no idea because I had a lot going on in my life. I was in the process of getting married. I was in the process of moving. I was in the process of helping to take care of my friend Alan.
Well, when you were in the media, you actually had to pay attention to details and grammar and syntax and things like that because you got an award for writing. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you do pay attention to details, right? I mean, professionally, that's what you're trained to do.
Right.
All right, so how many text messages are between you and the defendant since she came back into her life? You can round it up, 1,000, 2,000, how many?
I don't know. Probably, I would say probably under 100.
And how many times have you talked to her? How many conversations have you had with her?
It just depends as far as I'm trying to remember because it's been, 6 or 7 years ago. It's a long time ago. And I would probably say, as far as my physical interaction with her and talking to her, probably every other day just to say, hi, how are you doing? That sort of thing, making sure that her safety is okay. She was concerned about her safety.
So can you answer my question? How many times do you think you talked to her?
I don't know, maybe a few hundred.
And how many times did she tell you she wanted you to make a police report or make a statement about Scott or do something for Scott?
She never told me to do that.
How many times do y'all discuss you making a police report or something like that?
I don't know that there was any of those times that she did.
Well, obviously, I had to tell her about it for you to be here, right?
I'm sorry, what?
You have to tell her about it for you to be here. The attorneys didn't know about those before, outside of her, would they?
I'm not clear on what you're asking.
You testified today that you had to call, I guess, something with law enforcement when Scott was following you, and I think also.
Yes, I called 911 because I couldn't understand why he was calling me. Why he was following me. Excuse me.
So you two talk about at least that, correct?
Yes.
All right, and you're here today because of what you've told her. Would that be fair to say? I mean, you didn't know her attorneys before this event, did you?
No.
So you didn't tell them outside of her about all these incidents, right?
No, I don't think I did.
Okay, so it's fair to say that you're here based on what you've told her or what she's told you, right?
During that time period.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. And you testified to three main things: a Christmas party in 2018. Is that right?
That's correct.
And you did that because you are a nice guy, correct?
I try to be.
Yeah. And you feel for the defendant, right?
I feel for Melody because I've been through a Great Depression in my life. I know what it's like to lose family members. I know what it's like to be extremely depressed.
Yeah. And you seem like a reasonable person. And you talk about depression and feeling sad and things like that. And you talk about this trailer incident with Scott. But you could also, if you put on kind of an objective hat, you would agree with me that Scott, he also could be sad and be depressed and be upset when he believes his mother murdered his father.
Well, I think that the whole family would be disturbed and upset during this time period. And, but the interaction that happened that day between Scott and myself, that wasn't depression. That was control. That was anger.
So that would be no, you don't understand that Scott could be upset because he believed his mother killed his father, or yes, you believe he could be upset?
No, I do believe he could be upset.
And then finally, when he followed you on public road, right?
That's correct.
He never laid a hand on you, correct?
Never laid a hand on me.
Never threatened you, right?
Well, I don't know. When someone follows you at a high speed, don't you feel threatened by that?
No.
So if you left this courtroom and you went down the street and a stranger started following you, you wouldn't feel threatened?
No.
I see. Okay.
He never said, I'm going to hurt you, I'm going to kill you, anything like that, right?
No, it was just basically he was yelling and screaming. I didn't know him.
So when you're on that public road and he was following you, you were in your vehicle, correct?
I was in my private vehicle, yes.
And you were driving away, right?
That's correct.
And if he felt like you were doing something improper on the property, whether stealing something or helping his mom to take something, you could understand that he may want to follow you and see where you go, right?
No.
Okay.
Because I wasn't doing anything wrong.
But you can understand how he feels about what's going on with his mom because of the murder, right?
No, because I will say this, after that interaction and seeing how he was acting, it was very close to being violent that day. And I felt threatened as far as that arena is concerned. And anytime you leave a situation like that where someone's yelling and screaming, you don't know what they're capable of doing. You don't know what they're going to do. That's why I called 911.
And that's based on how you felt, right?
Yes, that's how I felt.
And you're basically saying that you were scared of Scott. Is that fair?
At that moment, yes.
So let me get this straight. You thought Scott was violent, and Scott was out of control, and he was very upset. But yet you went back to the property not once, not twice, but 3 times by yourself when Scott could be there?
No, it was not by myself. I always had somebody with me. I would never go on the property by myself.
You're so concerned with him that you went back and fed the animals when he could possibly be there?
I always had a family member or somebody with me because I'm smart enough to know that you don't go on private property without somebody's okay or without a family member or a police officer or somebody. My concern was for those animals. Those animals were not being taken care of during that time period. I grew up on a farm with my grandparents in the summertime, and I understand what horses go through. I know they can get colic. I understand when an animal looks hungry and acts different, they're hungry. And you probably have pets. I have pets, and your pets are going to come to you when they're hungry. Those animals during that time period, whatever he was doing, wherever he was, were not being fed.
That's your opinion.
That is my opinion. And when you have an animal run up to you begging for water and food, yes.
Nothing more. Just one follow-up
Go
question.
ahead.
Mr. Thomas, have you spoken to Melody since she was arrested?
I went to the jail to see her a few times.
Okay, let me break it down a little bit. Have you talked to her any in 2024, either on the phone or in person?
No.
2023?
No.
2022?
I don't know what year she was in jail, or she would have been in jail. What was it? The year 2019. Maybe I spoke to her in 2020.
Okay.
I had a lot going on. My mom died in 2020, so there was a lot of. I don't know the time period during that.
But you haven't talked to her recently
No.
or any relevant portion before this trial?
No.
Okay. No further questions, Judge.
Have you talked to Alan sitting right there recently?
He is a good friend of mine.
That's not my question. Have you?
Yes, I've always talked to Alan.
Nothing more, Judge.
All right. Anything else? All right, you can sit down. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right, y'all ready for another? Y'all got another witness ready to go?
Yeah, we actually can call Captain Penny. He'll be relatively short.
All right.
Take a break, if that's okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I thought he was a good witness. I don't know who Alan is myself, Lee Day. I thought he was a good witness, reliable. I presume that is Alan, because he's talking to Alan. But who is Alan? Alan? Who the fuck is Alan?
Before you sit down, raise your right hand. You swear and affirm the testimony you give before this court be the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God? Have a seat. State your name for the record.
Thomas Pinion.
All right, and what do you do, Mr. Pinion?
I'm the chief deputy for the Cherokee Sheriff's Office.
Okay, and how long have you been in law enforcement?
30 years.
All with Cherokee?
Yes, sir.
30 years. So you started in what, 1990?
1994
under Sheriff Garrison?
Yes, sir.
All right. Are you post certified?
I am.
How long have you been post certified?
since September of 1994.
All right. What were back in 2018? I'm just going to jump ahead. So you know what you're doing, right?
Yes,
You've been a cop a long time. All righty. What do you do right now as chief deputy?
I'm responsible for the day-to-day operations of the entire sheriff's office.
Okay. How about in 2018 when you were a captain?
I was responsible for the day-to-day operations of the criminal investigation division.
Okay. You were the head of CID.
Correct.
All right. Did you ever go out to 2155 Brazil Line?
Yes, sir.
All right, on July the 5th?
Yes, sir.
Did you ever have any interactions with Miss Farris?
Yes.
Okay. How about with Scott Farris?
Yes, sir.
And when did you get there?
Would have been after lunch. I don't recall exactly what time.
Okay. Were you one of the first officers to arrive?
No, sir.
Do you know who was there before you? Who was there when you got there? Is the easier way to say it.
I don't specifically recall who was there. There
That's
were
fine.
several law enforcement officers there, though.
Had your the crime scene technicians, had they gotten there yet?
One of them arrived with me.
Oh, arrived with you?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Did you drive all the way down the driveway at Purcell Lane and go up to the house?
I did go to the house. We parked a good distance away and walked.
Okay. Is that when you were walking in? Is that when you encountered Scott Farris?
Yes, sir, near the house.
Okay. Was that when there's been some testimony before you, I know you haven't been watching the trial, that was he sitting on the back of his truck when you got there, or do you recall?
I don't recall.
All right. You recall talking to him?
I do.
And during your conversation with him, you were just trying to get some just background basic information?
He approached me and started speaking.
Okay. You didn't ask him anything?
No, sir.
Okay. Did that conversation did he just continue to keep talking?
Yes.
Okay. How long had you been there before you encountered him?
It was immediate.
Immediate?
Yes, sir.
Did he come up to you like at your car, or you actually got to walk up to the house?
Walk up to the house.
All right. Let me show you. This was previously admitted. I'll have to click through and find the right one, but these are aerial. So in this one, this is aerial 4. Can you see it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. You can see this. This is the road that goes off to the barn, and then it goes straight. Did you park around this area?
I was out near the main roadway.
Just up from there?
No, sir. Looks like down in the bottom part of the screen, just where the main roadway is.
Yeah.
We would have parked out there somewhere.
Okay, so you parked on the road and walked down the driveway?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Do you recall where Scott came up to you at?
It was up near the house, maybe to the left of the house.
Okay, so you did make it all the way down the driveway?
Correct.
So how long did it take you to walk down the driveway? Just a couple minutes?
Yeah, less than that probably.
And then immediately, here's Scott Farris?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And at some point, I know you had written in your report that since he just started talking, you were trying to get some basic information, and then you didn't prompt him to keep talking, did you?
Not really, no, sir.
Okay. And I think you actually wrote in your report that Scott completely changed the direction of the conversation.
Correct.
Was he blaming or seemed like you throwing anybody under the bus immediately?
He was recounting a domestic dispute that he had witnessed recently.
Okay. And that would have been between Melody and Gary?
Correct.
Okay. He was also, did he allude to you anything about any affairs?
Yes.
Okay. And those were Melody's affairs, correct?
Correct.
How about, a gun? Didn't he also talk about there's a gun missing?
He did.
Okay. Did he describe the gun to you?
He did.
Did he even tell you where it was or what he thought it should be?
Correct. Yes, sir.
Okay. And he even told you about why he was downstairs looking for it, didn't he?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And then I'm assuming at this point you were able to, for lack of a better term, kind of get away from him to go check on your other agents or other deputies?
Yeah, after we finished speaking, I did.
Okay. And do you recall, because I know you were there as everybody's supervisor, really. Were you able to record this?
No, sir, I was not.
Yeah, because you didn't have your recorder on you, did you?
That's correct.
Okay. But you did write it down in a report?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And then after this interaction, you went off and did whatever captains do at crime scenes?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Just 1 second, Judge. Just a couple of quick things. With you being the head of CID, would you be the person in charge, for example, if y'all wanted to call in the GBI to investigate this case or any case?
Yes, sir. That's part of my responsibilities.
Okay. Why did you not contact the GBI to investigate this?
We've got very competent detectives, crime scene technicians, and we typically do not do that in a homicide case or any death case.
And you investigated in-house?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Have you gone back and looked over like all the reports and the things that were done and not done in this case?
I don't specifically recall doing that. I mean, I was kept abreast of actions as they were completed. But I don't recall reading each and every supplemental.
And when did you receive your promotion from head of CID to chief deputy?
I've been chief deputy almost 3 years now. So it would have been about 5 years ago. So
okay.
Started away from criminal investigations.
Okay, so shortly after this investigation began, you went off to do other things with the sheriff's office.
Correct.
Okay, so you were kind of out of it at that point?
Yes, sir.
You still would have had the ability, though, to, like in your authority, you could have contacted Hayes and been like, hey, tell me what's going on this case?
Yes, sir.
Okay, but you didn't do that?
No, sir.
Okay. Are you aware of all of the things in this case that weren't gathered and weren't tested?
No, sir.
Okay. Were you aware of the fact that the barn, there was no Blue Star testing done in the barn?
No, sir.
Okay. Are you the one who contacted Elena Coffey with the GBI to come out?
I believe I contacted her supervisor, but yes, I reached out to the GBI.
Okay. And why at that point, for that very limited thing, the Blue Star, why would you contact the GBI for that?
The stock that our crime scene technicians were using was expired.
Oh, okay. So the Blue Star that they had used previously on the case had expired?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Do you know some of that was used at Purcell Lane or on any of the items?
Yes, sir.
Okay, it was used. How expired was it? Do you recall?
I do not.
Okay, but it was in fact expired.
Correct.
Okay, all right. That's all I got, Judge.
Erin Hartree drives a bus, yellow bus, yellow
questions?
bus.
All right.
Erin Hartree
You step
drives
down.
a
Thank you, sir.
bus all day long.
Our next witness is a little longer, so.
No questions.
Right now, we'll break for 15 minutes and start back at 10:30.
No questions for him from the state. Hello, Erin Hack. Hello, everybody. So, 15-minute break, okay. What's wrong with Chappie, though? I think I got a hemorrhoid in my ass because my ass is on fire. I think I got a hemorrhoid. I can't sit properly on my ass. To be quite honest with you. So I'm sitting on the side. Oh. Well, you fucking asked. You fucking asked, so that's why. It's a bit of pain. It's more pain than I thought it would be. Keith knows. Keith knows. A donut, yeah. Problem is, I've eaten too many donuts. That's the problem. Haha. Too much information. Well, blame Hack. Hack is the one that wanted to know, so we can all blame Hackster. Nothing. It's all good. It's all good, Sass. How are you, my darling? You're good. Sitting all day really does a number. I had to get a standing desk. Yeah, I just can't get a standing desk here. Do you know what I mean? So it's yeah. Well, I haven't really. I don't even know if it's that. I I don't even know if I got a hemorrhoid. I'm just saying it for airing. But it was more of a, I can't say it. My ass is on fire, so I believe it's hemorrhoids. Oh no, that's not good. It's not, Morrissey. It's not. That could be a DM. It could have been. You're right. But we like to share. We like to share here, Josie. As you know, Josie, we like to share. So I'm attending court case all week on a break right now. So 5 minutes. Tell me what's new, Chappie. What's new, Chappie? Nothing much, Huckster. What's new, Chappie? Nothing much, Huckster. I don't know. There's not much on. We got this week now. Next week, quiet week, and I'm going to take a little bit of a break. Friday, probably for the long weekend, going away for a weekend. But yeah, not much other than that. Struggling with sleep apnea, struggling with a hemorrhoid now. But yeah, that's all I think. We don't like to share that much. I mean, as nurses here, you're a nurse. What should I do for it? What should I do? Sharing is caring. Sharing is caring, yes. Jinx. So I knew quite well, lost her life last year at the hands of her boyfriend. So I'm working remotely at a nearby town. Okay. Upper and lower problems. I know. Get some. I don't actually know if I got hemorrhoids. To be fair, I don't think I got hemorrhoids. What does it like? You know, I don't know. I'm not going to get it down there. I got a doctor's appointment, so he can check it for me. Came out of the shower and I was like, oh, my ass is on fire. Rhode Island's on fire. My ass is on fire. Yeah. So that's why I'm sat like this. I'm just like, jeepers. I put Sudocrem on it. No, I didn't. I didn't have a rough one. No, I didn't. I haven't, to be honest. It's been for a while. Yeah, I'm not sure. No, I don't. Yeah. This level of sharing in this channel is next level. Your hemorrhoids, my failure to schedule. Have you done it yet? Colonoscopy. Scott McGuinness and his cross dressing. H mofo. Preparation H. What's that? Were you eating spicy? No, I don't eat spicy food. I generally I don't. I don't even know what it is. Literally, I have it daily, but it's only after the shower. So I don't know. Should we get up and move it? Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think you're right. I think you're right. Sarah P. No, you need to schedule it as well. You, Sarah P, will love having that up your bum. So you will love it. You need to get it. Thanks, Mark. This is not sexy. I'm sorry, Keith. I'm sorry. Don't tell Jen. Hemi cream. Okay, fine. I'll see what the doctor says. Preparation H. Okay, I will. Preparation H. I will start that and check it in a bit. Keith. Go away, it's heavy cream. Okay. It's probably those beads. It might have been the beads. They stung Daffodil. Daffodil stuck up some beads. You don't know. It's not a whole day. Not a whole day. I started my prep at like I think 5 o'clock in the evening, and I was done by midnight. So it's not all day. So yeah, not sexy is right. Sorry, Bev. We're gonna need to start 10-minute stretches during the day, like now. Yes, but Yeah, okay. I could stand up now, can't I? Oh, my ass. Oh! I think it's because I'm sitting. I've not had... Oh, no, I've dropped something. Sitting, yeah. I think this is the problem. Oh, that poor doctor. That doctor's stuck so many fingers up my ass over the past few years. He's used to it, so he's all right. Yes, do it now. Yes, you do it now, missus. Book it in now. I've had it for years, but it's getting worse now. That's the problem. Let me put this back up. Oh, that. Not sure if you can all see me now. Oh. How's it? Can you all hear me okay, yeah? Just gonna stretch like this now. I gotta stand like it's too near me now. That's the problem. And stretch. And squat. And squat. Oh, squat. See you, hack. I haven't got a bath. I've only got a shower. Oh. How to lose viewers by the ultimate corner. Stand up in front of everyone. Stretch. Talk about hemorrhoids and colonoscopies. Oh. Yeah, we do need to stand up, and this doesn't look good, does it? But I'm not sitting down. No, my chair's not on wheels. I don't have a bath. I only have a shower. I don't know. I don't even feel like it's a hemorrhoid, because you would feel a hemorrhoid, wouldn't you? You would feel it. I don't feel anything. Don't forget Mamos. Those hurt like a... What's chair yoga, hippie chick? Which Hazel that it works? Oh, which Hazel? Oh, fuck. I will have to walk a little bit, but my ass. Honestly, it's just not like... I saw people... It feels like... could be an internal hemorrhoid. Yeah, that's why a doctor needs to stick his finger up there. But it feels like an anal fissure. Do you know what I mean? It stings. But I'm not like, it shouldn't, do you know what I mean? It's just irritated. It is irritated. That's a good way, that's a good way of saying it. Irritated, yes. It does feel irritated. It doesn't feel like it's throbbing. It's throbbing. Oh. I say, I've had it for a while, for like a very long time, but it seems to be getting worse now. So I just don't feel the hemorrhoid. That's what I'm using. I'm using Sudocrem, which is baby rash cream. That's what I'm using. Anyway, that's enough of my. Right, see you later. It could be a fusion. Yeah, maybe, but how did I get a fusion? It feels like a fusion, but I don't know how I got it. Preparation H. Well, I'll see what the doc will give me some stuff. Anyway, I'm going to the doctor's next Tuesday, actually. So a week tomorrow. So I had to have surgery for a fusion. Fuck. So this is why I'm sat to the side a little bit. So yeah, because I'm leaning. That's what it is. Oh, hey, Bev, I've had this for years. I've had this for years. This is not like today you've had it. I've had it for years, this. Like literally I've had this since I started streaming. On and off. Not all the time, but on and off. Seems to be getting worse, that's all. But when I lie down on my side, it's all fine. Just when I sit down, it's a good thing we're all brothers and sisters here. Okay, well, hopefully I don't have to have an operation then. I don't even know what fissure is. Oh, I can only imagine hemorrhoid surgery would not be fun, I can imagine. Oh, hey, I can bear this. It's not a problem. It's just, as I say, it's not that bad. Do you know what I mean? It's just I can't sit on it. Trust me, people. Once I'm not streaming, I'm fine. I'm fine. Might just have to change the way I stream. I might have to do a stand-up stream. I might have to change it, just do streams as I stand up. And that's it. I might do that starting tomorrow. Starting tomorrow, I need to find something though to put the screen on. Cheapers. We had like 78 people here, now we're down to 58. You don't sound fine. Now I'm getting confused now because Bev, this is Bev. I thought I was calling you Bev as Morrissey's Cloud. Yeah, laying on my side on the couch is absolutely fine. No, I'm okay. I am okay. Get a walk-in pad for underneath. I'll probably fall down, Stacey. I'll probably fall down. That's a problem. I did buy a treadmill called Wendy to try and exercise as I stream, but I've never done it. It doesn't work. Warm heating pad just for a bit, not for long periods of time. Sit on a rubber ring. Well, if I say sit on something, Daffy will be over here. It's going to sit on my, you know what. Space, get a donut pillow. It's me you're looking for, Denise. Yeah, so if that's his Denise, so who's this then? Oh, Bev. No. I'm confused. So who's Mello's arrested warrant then? I thought that was Bev. Donut pillow. I thought that you could feel hemorrhoids though. So what the fuck? So you are Bev. So who the fuck is this? What? You are Bev. Fine. But Mello's arrest warrant is not Bev. I'm confused. Is it me you're looking for? I'm very, very confused. Look, Erin Hack, she started this now, and Erin Hack, ole, ole. It could be internal. Yeah. It's just weird to me. It's only when, yeah. I've been fine all day. Literally, I've been fine all day, people, right? I had a shower before coming on. Maybe I just wiped my ass too fucking, with my towel. It's painful now. It has been painful all day. You can have internal and or external. It would be an internal hemorrhoid. It could be. I'm Bev crying down DNS knees. Right, Denise. Why do I go with calling Bev, don't I? Huh. It's probably too far up to feel, mate. That's why you got to get a doctor to try it. No, I don't think so. I think it's like a fuchsia. I think it's a fuchsia. As much as you like your poop shoot test, I'm surprised by this. Like a poop. Evil fruit daily. No, Joe, it's fine, I think. Regular, Anthony. Comes with a nozzle. I have to look at that preparation H. Never heard of that before. Ole, 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 ole. Ole, 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 ole. Erin hack, 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 ole. Erin hack, 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 ole. Dana's the pumpkin man. Dana's a pumpkin man. Dana loves pumpkins. He loves his pumpkins. Dana's the pumpkin man. Dana. I love this with Dana. I do not have a boil in my ass. Is it inside the bum crack? Dee-dee-dee. Dee-dee-dee-dee-dee. Hey Derek, how you doing? Raho is rowing. What is rowing on? How you do, Derek? Toots, what the fuck is good for bags in their eyes? Just saying. Ah. Good morning, good morning, good morning to you, Toots. Dee, 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 dee. Welcome to the Alternate Corner, where we talk about colonoscopies, hemorrhoids, all sorts of stuff that no other channel covers. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. How does this channel get to this state? I do not. I blame all of you. You guys bring this out to me. Do you know what I mean? Unbelievable. Rat guilty, rat guilty. I just sign on, and this is what I see. This not the other side.
Right.
Derek says, me dog, Scooby, is barking again. Rot.
Right, right. I like that. I like that. That is good.
Oh, good boy, Scoob. Oh, Derek. I needed that.
Right.
Thank you, Derek.
Right, Paris? Where are you, Paris?
Oh, fuck. Oh,
look at the kitty. Look at the kitty. Oh, God.
What the fuck is that?
Look at the kitty. Oh, my God. Forget about the bad guy. I don't care about our grade. Look at the kitties.
Oh.
My partners are saying, oh, my God, this is our future. Oh, God. Oh, well. Anyways.
Right, fuck. Right, stop. I've got to stop it. I've got to stop it there. Would anyone know where this came from? Where does this come from? Because it came out from somewhere, I don't know where, and I can't move, otherwise my arse is on fire. Where the fuck would this go? I couldn't hear any of that. It's plugged into my laptop, but I don't remember where this goes. Oh, fuck. Oh, I don't want to move. They're on break, yes. Oh, fuck. I do not. No, it's not. I need to plug it in. I don't know where I plug it in, though. Right, that's it. My mic came out, and now I don't know where this goes. I genuinely don't remember where it goes. Think. Ah! Robin G. Thank you, Robin. Thank you, Robin. Headset. So I would genuinely, I did have a clue. I was like, where would I plug this in? So I think I was thinking about other stuff. So I think we're back anyway. I think we're back. I blame the hemorrhoid. Donna, I'm having a day of it. But how are you, Donna? How are you recovering from your operation, my darling? I am having a day of it. You're right. The only way is up. Not with the ultra corners, not. Every day is down, down. Dee 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 down, down. Let me readjust my bumsies. Yeah, I'm gonna have to do something with this. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if it's hemorrhoids, Dina. My ass is on fire, bruv. My ass is on fire. It's like a fuchsia. It feels like I don't know what a hemorrhoid feels like. Do you know what I mean? I always jump back in on the oddest times. I started getting it when I was showing this. Started showing Dana's the pumpkin man. Dana's the pumpkin man. Dana loves pumpkins. He loves his pumpkins. Dana's the pumpkin man. Oh, Pemblwydd hapus I ti. Pemblwydd hapus I ti. Pemblwydd hapus I fix logic. Pemblwydd hapus I ti. Happy birthday, hip hip hooray. Hip hip hooray, hip hip hooray. Happy birthday, Vix. Hope you had a great time, my darling. There you go. That'll make anyone sick. I think it's one of the best things I've seen. I gotta keep it up now. I think it's one of the best things. I think it's fantastic. What the fuck is this pumpkin porn about? New side gig. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Vix. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to Vix. Happy birthday to Vix. Happy birthday, Vix. Dude, Amy's in the house. We all love Amy. Why do we love her? This is why we love her. Boom, boom, boom. Amy's got big boobies, boobies. Boom, boom, boom. Amy's got nice boobies, boobies. I did like the Twister one as well. I did like it, but I didn't want to replace this. I did not want to replace this. That's a good one. That's a good one, Dana. Les, how are you, Les? Hope you're okay, my darling. Amy's titties. Good morning, Les. Amy. So Amy's titties are bigger than Dana's titties.
This is Dana's man boobs. Nice and perky this morning. So we've got to get me sorted with my hemorrhoid. We've got to get Spacey Stacey and Sarah P in for their colonoscopies. So yeah, we're all here going for it. Dana, I hope Dana's had his prostate test. I hope you've had your prostate test. Otherwise, if you haven't, you need to get it checked out, Dana. Get that doctor to put his finger up your ass to check it. You're that age now. Ooh. Nice pick of Dana. I loves it. Ooh. I didn't know you had my pick, Mellows Arrest Warrant says. Damn. Amy is a 34 double D. Bow, chicka, wow, wow. Amy, 34 double D's. Bow, chicka, wow, wow. Yeah, I this is why I go to doctors once a month. I'm like, can you just check it again? Can you stick it? And Keith, get you checked. Get the doctor to check your prostate, sir. Amy's colonoscopy. My colonoscopy was fine. I had a good experience, I think. I think I get my prostate checked in about 3 more years. 40, 45, 50, I think they said I need to get it tested. So I'm over 40, so I've had it once. And then 45 will be twice. And 50 will be 3 times a lady. We all love what's going on. The court is back. Oh, there you go. Yeah, sorry to hear that, Amy. But yeah, that's true. But also, it's good that you have it, my darling. Keep getting them, just in case. It sucks, though. I know. He could do it with his hands in my shoulders. I'm not sure how he does it. Yeah, the thing is, when I look at his hands on my shoulders, all fingers and thumbs are there. I'm like, same as you, Dana. How does he put his finger up there if they're all on my shoulders? It's a miracle, Dana. It is, isn't it? It's a miracle. It's a miracle. Dana is a miracle. It's a miracle. Dee 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 dee. Do 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 do. Do do do. Special medical school. I must be. What else could it be? Yeah, Sean's got I think a members only. I think 3 o'clock, which sucks for me because it'll be bye bye. Everyone's gonna watch. Everybody loves to go watch Sean. Don't forget about this trial, okay? It's going to be great. I'll watch Sean on replay. So watch Sean on replay. Hey. Bye, bye, Miss American, bye. Through the levee to the levee, and the levee was dry. And good old Sean, he's going whiskey and rye. Yeah, he was going back and forward. Yeah, you're right, did a replay crew, yes. Sean's gone back over that prick, Kevin Young, whatever his name is, not Young, Yellow Cottage Tales. What a knob he is. Knob of a guy. Yeah, I just wonder what it is. How did he get his fingers and hands up there if they're all on your shoulders? I don't get it. He's masterful. Me and Dana must have the same doctor. Masterful. And he in, out, in. He just puts it in, out, flat out. Just to check. Plevin, yes, I agree. He is a knob, yes. He's a disgrace. All of them are a disgrace. Horrible people. You are my fire, my own. Hey, Keith, it's yours, blonde. She's yours, Keith. Jury on the way in. Yeah, house calls, stands at the end of the bed, tells you to bend over. It's weird.
Please raise your right hand. Do you so solemnly swear that in the matter pending before this court, you will tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Have a seat. Please state and spell your name for the record.
Amanda Bruce, AmandaBruce.
And what was your maiden name?
Farris, Farris.
So I want to, you are the daughter of who?
My father, Gary Farris, and Melody Farris.
So speak into the microphone.
Sorry.
We'll take our time. So Amanda, you are of the four children. Which are you? The oldest, the middle, the youngest?
I'm the youngest.
All right. About what year were you born?
1989.
All right. So you don't remember much of living. Do you remember at all living in Alabama?
I have images in my head of like our playroom, but no, I moved here in kindergarten.
And that would have been to Alpharetta or Atlanta?
Yes, sir, Alpharetta.
All right. So kind of tell the jury a little bit about what it was like growing up in the Farris household.
Honestly, when I was a child, everything was normal. Lived in a home in Alpharetta, which was normal, and we all went to school in kind of the same area.
Where'd y'all go to school?
I went to Chattahoochee High School. Brothers went to Milton, and then my sister also went to Chattahoochee as well.
So tell me about kind of everybody's, this jury has heard your siblings testify throughout this trial. So this is your kind of chance to explain what you saw growing up. You know, everybody's personality. Tell us how Chris was growing up.
Chris and I had the biggest age difference. He was 10 years older than I was, so I don't really recall a lot of interaction between him. He was just like the oldest brother. Moved out early. I must have been in middle school when he went to college. Scott, from our childhood when we lived in Alpharetta, like at Hampton Hall, he played football and he was a little bit more of an introvert. Chris was more of an extrovert. Emily, we were very close. We were 18 months apart, and so she was only a grade or two above me, and she was more introverted and I was a little bit more extroverted, but we were quite similar in ways.
Okay. So how was your parents' relationship back in those days?
Everything seemed about as normal. We didn't really take a lot of vacations or anything like that. We would go to the beach when my dad had a law seminar every once in a while. But looking back on it, compared to what I do for my child, it was kind of just routine day in, day out things. Go to school, come home, clean house, wake up, do it all over again. So it was all very...
Did y'all have chores
normal.
Or how?
Oh, yes. We always had chores, whether it be outside, inside. We had responsibilities, or at least I did.
Okay. So, the jury has heard quite a lot about, where everybody went in their life after they kind of graduated high school and the family began to grow up. So we'll start with you and then kind of tell me about your siblings.
Well, I graduated from high school and I went...
In 2008?
Correct, 2008, and immediately went down to Georgia Southern. Lived there for a couple of years, and then I actually moved back home, partially because I wasn't doing too well, and because my dad kind of wanted me to come home at that time. So
what year would that have been?
2010. So I came back, and then I was I did some school at Georgia Perimeter College and finished up there, and kind of went into work at retail, and I found my love in retail. And
that would have been when you went to work for Tory Burch?
No, I actually worked for Victoria's Secret for a while. And then for an accounting firm, I was a server. I did a kind of, number of things, but eventually I found my dream job at Tory Burch, and they did a company restructure, and I didn't get to work there any longer because my sales position or my position at the company got eliminated. But then I worked at Club Monaco, which is a retail store at Lenox. And then I ended up having my son not too long after that. Well, I guess I worked in fine jewelry for a while too, for like 5 years. And then I had my son, and I had to get out of retail.
So it's safe to say, prior to you having your son, you've always worked.
Yes. Oh, yes.
Okay. So tell me about Emily.
Emily, she graduated high school. She went to the University of Alabama, did really well there. She's always been really smart. Always did really good in school. Graduated communications degree, I'm almost positive.
Okay.
And then that's when she met her husband, Chris Payne, and they ended up moving to Atlanta, lived here for a while, like in the Dunwoody area. And then I think he may have gotten a job up in Tennessee, and they got married up there. And that's, I guess, where they've been ever since.
And then tell me about Chris.
Chris went to University of Alabama for a couple of years, maybe 3, I'm not sure. Did not finish. And then I really don't know how long after that he met Kimberly, and they ended up pregnant with Ella, and they got married. Moved up to Maine, had Addison, and then Chris came back after they got divorced, or during the divorce, something like that. But he moved back here, and he's been back here ever since.
How about Scott?
Scott graduated high school, kind of worked odd jobs, I guess you would say, like kind of like I did. And he worked at Jiffy Lube, he worked at car dealerships, he just kind of worked all over the place, honestly. And then he decided that he wanted to go into the Army, so he did that. I want to say, I know I spoke to him over the telephone, or not over the phone, but over chat my freshman year of college. And he was not in there for very long. And next thing I knew, I did go out and visit him at the base in Texas for a little while. And when he had his girlfriend, Gina, who I later found out, I guess they were married. And then he came back here, from what I can recall.
Okay. So this phrase has been used, and it may be you that I heard it from originally, I can't remember. But would it be fair to call your family the Farris wheel?
Unfortunately.
Okay. Well, let's kind of get into that, if we could, and kind of talk about, from your perspective, the personalities in the family and kind of the interplay of the siblings and the parents, and through the years, how that kind of developed into 2018.
I wouldn't say that term really came along until we were adults. We were not in college or anything. I mean, I guess you could say we were in college, but there was always something going on.
Well, kind of give the jury a background of that, if you don't mind.
I mean, Chris, him and Kimberly got pregnant. They got married. They had their issues with their divorce, unfortunately. Scott going to the Army, getting out. He kind of just lived at home. He really didn't do much. Really kind of worked odd jobs all the time. I know he was working at the Nissan dealership when I got my car, and that would have my first and second car came from that same dealership, but I guess it was the first time. So that was a senior in high school. He was working there. Sorry, I lost my train of thought.
Okay, well, let me do this. Let's kind of work through personalities in this Ferris wheel. So let's start with Chris. What would you say Chris's personality is? And then give me some examples.
He was very extroverted. He was always the center of attention at, like, I could say at parties and things like that. But him and I, we were friendly. I mean, we were all friendly. We all like got along. We all went to Christmas together and we all were friends, I guess you would say, but we didn't know like the inner workings of each other's lives. I don't know if I'm just kind of one of those people that likes to stay out of it. But I mean, there was just something always kind of going on. Everybody had their problems, but like my sister, she had her things and her husband was in and out of trouble. But you know, Emily never did anything wrong. I think she is a great wife and a great woman. Scott, he just lived at home. Him and I really didn't get along. He was kind of aggressive towards me at times, but other times we were fine with each other. He was kind of a different character, but he was our brother.
What do you mean by that?
He was just very introverted. He didn't have a lot of friends. I don't know how to explain it. He just wasn't very much like us. But he just lived his own life and we weren't involved with him, but we weren't involved with each other very much at all either. So it's like, it was, what was it on the outside? It wasn't, we didn't really connect internally. So I don't know.
And then how would you assess your personality?
I like to think I'm a loyal person. I'm a caring person. I always like to believe the best in people. I almost and I don't want to say a fault because I think everybody deserves a friend in this world, but I can be very introverted at times. But I like to have who my friends are. I passionately love them, and I would be there for them. But I like to consider myself kind of where I stand in the middle, where I like to evaluate everything from the outside. But I like to stay out of a lot of drama.
Okay. So we keep kind of touching around the outsides of the drama, but would you say on a scale of 1 to 10 that your family pre-2018 was 1 being very boring, not dramatic, 10 being as dramatic as it gets? What number would you give it?
It's hard to say because that was our normal. I think there was always something going on in everybody's life. I tried to, all of this, I was just trying to get married and fall in love with the man that I wanted to marry. And my world got turned upside down. And I was just very much one of those, like, everybody else's problems are their own and I can't fix it. But it was tough. It's really hard to explain, but everybody had trauma and trouble and issues.
You use the past tense when you're talking about your siblings. Why is that?
We don't talk anymore.
They don't talk to you.
Communication is a two-way street.
So when's the last time you talked to your siblings?
Had to be probably end of 2019.
Okay. And why do you believe that is?
This had something to do with it, but we had our own falling outs individually that I kind of refreshed my memory when I knew this was all happening and reading through text messages and things like that. But Chris and I had a falling out a year prior. My husband and I always go to Lake Lanier Islands for the 4th of July. My husband grew up in that area and worked there for a very long time.
At Lake Lanier Islands?
At Lake Lanier Islands. So that was our tradition. We did it every year, ever since I knew him.
This would be the big beach at Lake Lanier?
Yeah, like what's now Margaritaville.
Okay. And we're going to talk about the 4th in 2018 in a minute.
This is
what you guys did every year.
Yeah, but I'm talking about 2017.
Okay.
So we invited Chris and Jenna and the girls to come up with us to celebrate the 4th of July. And it ended up where we had spent the entire day out there and they were drinking heavily. And we went to the Mexican restaurant on Friendship Road. And I pulled the girls in the bathroom and I was like, listen, I can't let you drive with them. I was like, it's not safe. So they agreed. And we got in the car and we took him back as they were staying at Lake Lanier Islands Resort that night, and took him back. And shortly after that, I called my parents. Not that night, could have been a couple of days, I don't remember. But I told them, I said, Chris has a problem. He has a drinking problem, and those girls are going to get in an accident, and something bad's going to happen to them or somebody else. Well, it wasn't too long after that my brother decided to call my parents, and specifically my father, and say that he was having an affair with my mother and accused. And that was pretty much from then on out. I'd never felt the same about Chris.
And so that was right around the 4th of July, 2017.
Correct.
Was this also the time were you aware of him threatening to kill your mother?
That happened after.
Okay.
I kind of pieced it all together because I hear bits from people, but nobody tells me directly. Honestly, when that happened, I didn't ask questions. I didn't want to be involved. I thought that was something that my parents should handle. They were the parents, they needed to handle it. And that's why I went to them about his problem. And because it wasn't my place to tell him he had a problem, and it was theirs as his parents. And I don't know if that was a result of that.
Did you know that it had, almost a similar situation about Chris trying to leave with the girls, intoxicated? Did you know about that?
I slightly recall something of the sorts. I just remember telling my parents that the girls should not be driving with them if they were going to be drinking like that. And it was if it came to the point of me saying something to my parents, there was a reason. I did not feel like they were safe.
And so let's be clear. At that point, Chris, instead of stopping drinking or taking accountability for his actions, he decided to say that your fiance was having an affair with your mother.
That's what I can assume.
Okay.
Because there's no other reason for him. My husband was good friends with Scott and Chris before this. They went to an SEC football championship game together. Chad and my dad had a fantastic relationship before all of this happened. We went out there almost every weekend to have dinner with them. And we were there on his birthday on June 27th before he died. And we were the only ones there.
And we are gonna talk about that weekend. So I want to back up too. So that's you brought up Chris and you brought up that incident, and we may just have to talk about moments in time that come back, because I understand that what you're currently going through in this moment is awful.
Yes.
And this is a very patient jury, and so we will get through it. Okay. But let's go back and let's talk about Scott. I want to talk about, he gets back from Iraq. Can you tell me about any specific instances you remember? You mentioned anger and things like that. Can you talk about that for the jury?
He was just very protective over the farm. And I never understood why we called it a farm. So it was a glorified petting zoo at most, but sorry.
They know. They've seen it.
Sorry, we had a lot of animals growing up, and this was like that on steroids. It made no sense.
Well, then how did we wind up there? How did the family get to the farm?
That would be a great question. Ask my daddy. Because I don't know. There was a lot of things that happened before that moment that I think should have been taken care of before just putting money on it to fix it. Okay. I think a lot of things that have happened in our family get swept under the rug, and they're never addressed, and they're not taken seriously. But a sin is a sin, and I feel like this is a repercussion of all the sins that were committed over years, unfortunately.
This is sins by everybody in the family?
Everybody. False money idols. It was always what it looked like on the outside. It never mattered what it was on the inside. There was many things growing up, like our parents didn't really, they cared, but you had to figure it out for yourself. It wasn't, let me walk you through this. Let me show you how to do this. I don't feel like it was ever that moment. So we kind of had to fend for ourselves a little bit in that aspect.
Well, let's talk. Let's just go ahead and get into it. Let's talk about your mother. Let's talk about it. Growing up. It seems like, the jury seen messages between you guys. It seemed like you guys were pretty close.
She was my mom, yeah.
All right.
She is my mom.
Right.
You know, I've always cherished we had a great family growing up. It seemed like everything was normal. We lived in a great house, and Alfreda went to a good school, had never wanted for anything, or never needed for anything, I guess I should say. We were given everything. My dad provided everything.
Let's talk about your dad, and I'm bouncing now too. What was your dad like?
He was great.
Take your time. I feel like we've been in this trial for a while.
He was a very smart man. I'm sorry. There was no doubt in my mind he loved all of us. He made that known, and he was very sarcastic.
Lawyers are notorious for that.
He had the lawyer personality for sure, but I mean, he was the dad that you walk down the stairs and he'd whistle and go, "You're a movie star." Or when Emily had her baby, he texted me a picture of me holding Olivia, and he goes, "You're natural." Like, he was just so loving, and I can still
take your time.
He was just such a big man, and he'd come and he'd just wrap his arms around you. But then in this sense, he'd turn around and fart on you, and you'd just be like, like, he was sweet, and he was witty. He could say things that cut you to the bone. He definitely demanded respect in that aspect, I guess you would say. I was always fearful of him in the sense that I wanted to respect him, and I wanted him to be proud of me. And when he would make comments that I was not doing as well as I should, I took that to heart, and I really wanted to make him proud. He was a good dad. He was a good grandfather, and I wish my son could have seen that.
Could you tell the jury what his relationship was like with Chris, for example?
I mean, I never saw them really do much together, I guess you would say, but I mean, Chris was grown. I don't know much about their relationship when they were younger. I don't really recall. I know that they were in a lot of fights over the past years about money.
Could you explain that to the jury? Best you can remember.
The best I can remember. I mean, it sounds awful, but I mean, he had issues with taking money, and he always had his hand out, but I don't doubt that he didn't love my daddy. I approach things differently than my siblings did.
What does that mean?
Meaning I never wanted anything in return for his love. Especially right before he died, I just wanted a mother and a father, and that was it. I didn't want any more of the drama. I didn't want any more of their marital problems. I didn't want to deal with any of it. I just wanted a mom and a dad, and I wanted to get married, and I wanted them to watch my kids grow up.
So tell me if I'm wrong, but what I think I heard in regards to Chris was he didn't have a very close relationship with your dad that you noticed.
That I noticed. I mean, it was all about the same. I mean, they'd have conversations at Christmas, but I don't know if he ever went out and like had dinner with him. I don't know. I don't know. I didn't see it. They may have, but like my dad and I would meet up, and because I lived in Roswell, Buckhead area, and he would call me and he'd be like, "Hey, I'm leaving the office. You want to go meet at Cheesecake Factory?" And I'd say, "Yeah, let's go." And it would be just him and I. And so I don't know if they had that or not. I really don't.
Know. But you did know. And how did you know that he was stealing money from your dad?
Well, my mother made it very apparent. there was never any dirty laundry that the both of them weren't willing to air out to all of their children.
So
There was
your
no
dad would do
boundary.
that too.
Yeah, oh, yeah,
So he would say, Chris is stealing from me.
correct.
Okay. And was that in the months and weeks leading up to his death?
Years.
For years?
It's been a problem for as long as as the girls have been around, as far as I'm concerned.
How would your brother do it? You say steal from him. How would that happen?
It was all things that I was told, whether it be my mom, mostly my mom, because I don't think my dad really liked to talk about those problems. He liked to complain to me about my mother. But I mean, it was well known that he would take checks and he would cash them. He would take credit card numbers and he would use the numbers off of them. Just always needing stuff for the girls. Just always had his hand out. I don't know how else to say it.
But Emily didn't do stuff like that, right?
She needed help from him. I think it was mostly for her husband. I know that she moved into her house in Thompson Station, and she would have not gotten that without him. He co-signed on an apartment in Atlanta because they couldn't get that on their own. But my dad co-signed for many things. Like he co-signed on my second car. He didn't pay anything for it, but he co-signed on it. So
he was just helping out the kids in that regard.
You had to ask for it, but he was not just going to willingly give it out. But you definitely had to ask for it.
Okay. Well, speaking of asking for it, were you familiar in any way of how Scott would be paid or how he worked on the farm? Do you know anything about that?
They moved out there, and when I never really understood why they bought the house.
Did you ever hear, I'll stop you to ask this question. Did you ever hear that it was going to be kind of your mom and your dad's fresh start? Did you ever hear that?
That's what I assumed it had to been, because we had a come to Jesus meeting about it. And we both knew. I said, you know what this is. You know who she is. You know who you are. I need you to make a decision. I was in a relationship with a loser for quite some time, and they both came down and got me out of that relationship. And him and I were at Tacos and Tequilas in Buckhead. And I said, Daddy, if this is the hard decision I had to make, you need to make that decision too. You need to be happy. I mean, I would text them when they would say, oh, Daddy, or Mama would send me something, a screenshot, or being mad with Daddy. And I'd be like, y'all need to figure this out. Like, y'all are going to have a heart attack one day. Or like Daddy would complain about something and I'd be like, y'all need to figure it out. This is not my problem. It's just, I thought of that Purcell house as they both knew what they were getting into. And at that point, my hands were off of it. I said, that's y'all's problem.
So tell me if I'm wrong, because I'm just going off the way you just said this. But it sounds like your parents, this is just how they were.
Yes.
And when I say the way they were, the kind of the way that they would just kind of bicker and complain about each other, that was just a two-way street, and that's what they did. That's how they communicated.
Yes. And that's what they both accepted and wanted to do.
That's what they wanted to do.
Yes.
That was
my
their
dad
norm.
told me, he said, I love her and I'm not leaving her. So that was his choice, not mine. He knew my opinion.
Okay. But though strange maybe to the outside world, to them,
that was their choice.
That was life.
They were both adults. They knew exactly what they were doing.
So back to Scott, and how did it come to pass that he wound up on the farm that you knew of?
Because he couldn't make it on his own. It was kind of a running joke that he just was always he'd complain that, oh, Mama told me to do this or Daddy told me to do that. And I'm like, well, move out. Like, it's as simple as that. Like, don't live with your parents. They always said, oh, I'm going to work on the farm, or I work on the farm and things like, yeah, he did. I mean, I guess, but so did my dad. So did my mom. It was a kid that was living at home. And that was about it.
Do you think he was taking advantage of them?
I think anybody who asks their parents for money over the age of 20, 25 are taking advantage of people. Okay. I think it's a moment in a person's life where you have to say, I'm an adult. I need to grow up.
Okay. Do you did you know about kind of his daily life, about him just playing golf and not really actually working on the farm very much?
It was off of what I was told.
Okay. Nothing you saw?
No. I mean, he was out there, when I went out to visit my parents, you couldn't go on the property without him he'd come up right in it immediately. But like, he would see what was going on and then he would leave and he would go back. Like Christmas, or even dinners on weekends when we would go, he would come in, make his plate, and he'd go back to his little apartment. And that was like the most we saw of him. And
like he would take the plate and go back to the barn apartment?
Yeah. He never
wouldn't sit with the family?
No. Occasionally he would sit at the bar stool, like in the kitchen, but.
And this is Scott, not your dad?
Correct.
If you had to say which kids were closest to which parent?
I mean, my dad and Emily always had a really good relationship, but she lived in Tennessee, so that's kind of hard to judge.
Sure.
My husband is a really big advocate of family, and looking back on it, I didn't have that lovey-dovey family relationship that everybody grew up with. And I wanted to cultivate that, and I made an effort to spend that time with my parents. So we would go out there almost every weekend and have dinner with them. And I mean, I was looking back through our text messages, and it felt like every weekend, baby girl, when am I going to get to see you? I'll be up there this weekend. So I really tried to get as close as I possibly could, but my dad was really hard to get close to. He's very shut off to a certain point. But I think he did that because we were his kids. I think it was different for the other people.
Like what other people? Would have been different?
Like my husband would have conversations with him. They would have great conversations from what I heard. Like when we went over there for dinners, they'd go outside. My dad smoked cigarettes. Chad vaped at the time. They'd go outside and they would just chit chat. And they had great conversations. More than I could get out of him, I guess I should say.
Okay. So I want to start kind of moving into events in y'all's family life that would have been part of maybe the Ferris wheel, and get your version of the events to tell the jury. About the time you were in college, can you tell the jury about Ted Wiley? What you know about that?
Well, going back to my senior year of high school, my mother's mother, had open heart surgery, and she had to go up there and stay with her all the time. And my father would text me and tell my other siblings about Ted, and it was a speculation at first, and then it came to a point where my father would send me pictures of things that were not appropriate, that were possibly sent to my mother's phone. And at that point, I told him I didn't want to be involved and I didn't want to know. I felt like I was a child at that point and I didn't need to be involved, and I was very upset. So it ended up that it turned out really bad, and she went up there and was, I guess, I don't know if she was staying with him. I didn't ask. But my dad was at home and he was alone, and I was at Georgia Southern and I wasn't doing well anyways. And I said, I'm going to come home and I'm going to live with my dad. And I did. I came home and I lived. And it was not long after that my mom came in and she decided to come back home. And at that time, I didn't want to be there. I didn't want to be involved. So I was dating a guy at the time. He had an apartment and I went and lived with him. One of the worst decisions I've ever made.
This was that loser you were telling us
That was
about.
that loser.
And so that's what you remember from that era?
From that era, yes.
But your dad knew about it?
Oh, yeah. I mean, he was...
And everybody else in the family?
Everybody knew about it.
Okay. And would you just kind of, earlier you said about kind of the bickering and the way that they would communicate, that just became part of everybody's life.
Yeah.
Would you give that same assessment to any extramarital relationships both your parents would have?
I didn't know of any extramarital affairs that my father had.
Okay. But even your mom, as far as how it just became accepted by the family, and this was, though odd, this is how we live?
It was accepted because my father accepted it. I just made a comment that was not the best about my mother to my father, and he got very mad at me. He said I was not to speak to her about her like that. And after that, I didn't talk to him about it, and I stayed out of it. And that's where I left it. It was his choice. So that was it. That was their normal. They accepted it. They knew what they were doing.
Okay. What about the other siblings? Did y'all talk about it at all?
Oh yeah, we talked about it. They had far more anger for my mother, which I felt like I should have had, just because I feel like there were moments of manipulation in the sense of like, I'd go up to Alabama with her, and I think that she would kind of use me as like, oh, I'm going up with Amanda, and then I'd be left at home, or I don't know. It's all speculation. All I can do is assume, but I don't feel like things were not going the way that they should have. And I think sins were committed in that I think both of them needed to address, and they didn't. They refused to.
Okay. So kind of moving back closer in time, is it fair to say that Scott and your mother were actually pretty close?
Oh, they spent almost every day together. They would go up to what is called, I think, Scottsdale Farms. Scott loved to decorate. He was always doing something, whether it be outside or inside the barn, or they were always together. They always went up to Cherokee Ranch. I mean, all of us did everything with my mom.
What does that mean?
We all had a relationship with her. And Chris took his girls to be with her all the time. I don't know if they necessarily I guess they did stuff together. I didn't see where they did.
Did you know that the girls basically, when Chris would get them from Maine, they would spend the vast majority of their time
they came over to my mother's.
And they would call her Grandma. Did you know that?
Yes. Okay. They spent all their time with my mother. She was great grandmother. Okay. His great grandmother.
And she keeps your son, correct?
She did.
Okay. So they were close. Did they ever fight? Any altercations?
Sure.
Well, what you would have known.
I think they would fight when my mother would call them out on their stuff. And they didn't like it. And I'm sure that they felt the same way about her. But I mean, there was always an underlying anger that never went away. I think we all knew what was there, and the betray and the mistrust there that never went away. But we did as Daddy did, and we just swept it under the rug, and we just kept moving. We just kept our family.
So let's move to 2018. Do you remember any of your dad's medical spells? They would call them episodes.
Yeah, I mean, he said he would get sick and he would have to lie down, whether it be for 24 or 48 hours. I don't know. He would tell me he didn't feel well, and I'd beg him to go to the hospital. I mean, you've got to figure this out. I mean, he was not the healthiest man. But he refused. I remember trying to get him off of cigarettes. I tried to get him to, I was like, at least vape. I know it's still terrible, but it's not cigarettes. And refused and stuck in his ways and drank Mountain Dews. But he refused to do anything about it, ever. And then the one that sticks out to me the most in 2018, it had to be a few months before he died, because we were supposed to go to our wedding venue, and he got really sick, and my mom had called me the night before and said that he was going into a diabetic shock or something, but it was something was wrong with him. And Scott was there. They were trying to get him to the hospital, and I didn't see him until the next day, but I walked in and he was perfectly fine, just sitting up. So it was a shock. I mean, even Chris brought him a Mountain Dew in the hospital. And
not even a diet Mountain Dew?
No.
Okay.
And I remember sitting there and it was like, Daddy, I won't go to this wedding venue if you don't want me to. And he's like, no, baby girl, go. He was always, baby girl, go ahead and do it. Because I always asked his permission for everything. I was like, are you sure it's okay that I go with Mama to go tour this venue? And he said, yes, please go. And same venue, we ended up putting a deposit down and we never got married there. So yeah, he was not in good health.
So I want to move into the summer of 2018. And so that summer, you guys would pretty much go up there and have dinners every weekend.
Every weekend almost, yeah.
And your now stepdaughter, Cameron, she'd go too.
Yeah, if she was with us, yes.
Okay. The jury would have they've met Cameron. And everything, how did it seem when you went that summer? Just normal?
Fine, it was just us there. Scott maybe come in once and leave, but Chris wasn't there unless the girls were there. Emily was in Tennessee, so she was never there. So it was just the 4 of us, 5 if Cameron went. My mom would cook and we'd all eat dinner and stay till about 9, 10 and then go home.
So you tell the jury about the weekend before his birthday, from everything you can remember about that.
Well,
just that weekend. Who was there? What was going on?
The Saturday before, we had a big gathering in the house, and everybody was there. Chris, Scott, Emily, Chris Payne, Olivia, me, Chad. I don't think Cameron was there. She wouldn't have been there. And we just had dinner. My mom cooked and we had cake and that was it. And we went home and then Sunday.
Well, I'll ask you this. I mean, did everything seem normal?
Yeah. Our normal. Yeah.
Okay.
Everybody gets along. We had a great time.
Okay. All right, go ahead.
Sunday, the next morning, we woke up and we went to go eat brunch. I don't know what time. Could have been near lunch time. We walked into Jay Christopher's over there, I think closer to their house. Emily was supposed to go back to Tennessee. I was asking to see if she would go with me and Daddy and my mom to go to a wedding store in Roswell to go look at dresses, and we ended up not going. And because she had to go back and we had breakfast. Yeah, it was just a normal breakfast. I don't know. And then my dad's birthday would have been in the middle of the week, I guess it was. It was a weekday. And we invited everybody. I didn't invite my mom because I thought my dad wouldn't like it. Boy, was I wrong. He was very upset that I did not invite her.
Well, what day was that?
I don't remember. June 27th.
Okay.
So
the week before.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Chris texted at last minute, said he couldn't come. So he was busy or something and he couldn't go. Scott didn't go. He was up there at the house, I guess, but he didn't go. So Chad and I had dinner with him at I can't remember the name of it, a Cajun place in Roswell Road, I believe. And that was his last birthday.
Okay. So let's move on into July the 3rd, 4th, and 5th. Things you saw and any interactions you had with your mother and Scott or anybody in the family at that time. So let's go to, did you talk to your mom at all on the 3rd that you can remember?
I can recall because I went through text messages. I'd worked that day, worked at a jewelry store. So I would have worked from 9 to 6. And I mean, I had texted her all the time.
And you remember y'all were kind of texting to some degree. Chris had either, how did it come to pass that Chris had convinced your dad to pay for his vacation? Did you know anything about that?
My mother had told me that Chris had booked another vacation. In my eyes, Daddy didn't go on vacation. Daddy loved to work. He just didn't do that. So it was kind of shocking. I kind of perceived it as Chris wanted a free hotel room or a condo. in my eyes. But
Your brother Chris, he offered, I believe, he was going to on this trip pay for all the food.
I don't know.
Do you believe him if I were to tell you that he said that? He was going to pay for all the food and the fishing and everything?
Doubtful.
Okay. Why would that be?
He never had any money to do that. He always had to ask for money for everything. He couldn't fly the girls in from Maine without help. So I don't see how that could have been possible.
Shock you that on the day of the 5th, after you guys had been investigated that day and you talked to Detective Hayes and Kuykendall, that he actually had to borrow $20 from Emily to get home? Did you ever hear about that?
No.
Okay. So you're talking to your mom some about that stuff that day and wedding stuff. Do you remember that?
Probably at that time. I was in full wedding mode trying to plan our wedding because we had the deposit down at Vauxhall.
But did anything seem out of the normal that day?
No.
Just a normal life, normal communications with your mother?
I was in bliss. I was engaged. I was the happiest I've ever been.
Okay.
Everything was perfect in my eyes.
So the next morning, on the 4th, I believe you guys even had some phone conversations. Do you remember anything about that?
Well, we had picked up Cameron the night before because it was our time to have her come over. And so we drove up to Jefferson and got her and brought her home. And then we were going to Lake Lanier because that's what we do every year.
And you take your mom every year?
No.
Okay.
Since we were up there the weekend before, we'd asked I asked my mother and Chad asked my dad.
Okay.
And my dad did not want to go. And I told my mom, I said, if you want to go, you're more than welcome. But this is what we're doing. This is our plans.
Okay. What do you remember about inviting her?
I just invited her. I was just like, hey, we're going to go do this. If you want to do something on 4th of July, this is where we'll be. It's fun. It's a fun place.
What did she say?
I think she said, sure. Maybe, yeah, I'll go. I mean, she had told me the weekend before she was going to go.
Okay. And then the morning of the 4th, you guys were texting about it and talking about it. Did anything seem weird or out of place?
No. We woke up and we went out there. It was super packed. So
this is Margaritaville.
Yep. The whole beach was packed. All the chairs were taken. And I called her and was like, hey, we're going to go back home and we're going to get our chairs and stuff because there's nowhere to sit. But we put up our little pop-up tent and saved a spot because we lived 5 minutes down the road, not even. And told her we were going to go get our chairs and come back. And I told her she needed to bring one if she had one. And then she said she was working out in the yard and that she would be there later. I said, okay.
And so she came?
Yeah, eventually around 12, 1 o'clock, I guess it was. It was later.
About noon?
Yeah, I would say so.
Somewhere in there. How did she seem? How was her demeanor?
Normal.
What did y'all do?
We roasted on the beach for a while and then went to Land Shark Cafe and because it was unbearably hot. And then we ate lunch. She ate with us. Cameron was there. And we went back to the beach, sat there for a while. I don't know if we did any of the water slides or anything that day, but I think it was 5, 6 o'clock maybe. And Cameron was begging to go be with Addison. We were like, I don't know, because we had just picked her up the night before.
Would Cameron and Addison, they communicate to themselves via text?
Yeah, they were friends at that time, yeah.
Okay, so they'd already kind of figured out they're going back to Grandma's.
Yeah, they were essentially the same age. They like hanging out with each other.
Okay, so I guess Cameron told you, hey, I'm going back with Melody.
No, she asked. And Chad and I were like, I don't know, because we picked her up the night before. And we were like, I don't know. We really didn't want to, but she begged and begged. And so we're like, all right, for one night you can go out there. And Chad was supposed to work the next day and I had the day off. So I was going to go and I was like, I'll pick you up and then we'll go shopping.
And that would have been on the 5th.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But back on the 4th, Cameron how did your mom respond when she asked to come over?
She said, okay, have you talked to Addison? And I don't know if my mother talked to Chris or not, but Cameron got in the car with her and they rode back.
Okay. Did y'all have any communication with Cameron that night or the next morning?
I probably wouldn't have. Chad would have.
Okay.
I wasn't I was more or less, and I still am more or less, Chad's wife. She has a mom, and I didn't mother her by any means, so it would have been Chad that checked up on her.
Secondary parent role, step parent.
Correct.
Okay. But nothing seemed out of the ordinary.
No.
Everything seemed perfectly normal. Is that a fair assessment?
Yes.
Okay. So how did it come to pass that you were going to come the next morning and pick up Cameron? Because you were off that day?
I was
Chad
off
had to
that
work?
day, so I knew I was going to have to go pick her up. But his father was living with us at the time. He'd gotten in an accident and had to live with us because he was in the hospital for a while. So we took care of him. And he asked me that morning if I could drive him over to his friend Debbie's house. So I agreed and took him over there, and could have been 10:30 by the time I actually left the area. I'm not sure. But I drove directly over to my parents' house, and that's when I got there.
Okay. So somewhere between 10:30 and 11, you think?
Could have been. It was mid-morning.
All right. I'm going to show you what's previously been marked as Thrasher Exhibit 20. Was this the porch on your parents' house?
Yes.
All right. When you got there, what did you and your mom do?
She was sitting out on the front porch.
This porch?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes.
Is there some chairs right over here?
They're rocking chairs.
Okay.
I pulled up in the driveway and I parked and walked up. I think the girls were out there at that time. I know they came out there at some point, but she immediately said, "We've been looking for your daddy and we don't know where he is."
She said that to you.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't bring up to her, "Hey, where's daddy?"
Not that I can recall. I just remember her bringing it up because I was like, I don't know.
Was that early in the conversation? Had you?
Yeah, it was like immediately once I got there.
Okay. Then what did you go do next?
Well, I started talking to her. I'm like, "Well, what do you mean?" She was like, I can't find him. And I was like, "Well, where?" I mean, it wasn't unusual for them not to know where each other was at, but I was like, okay. And I kind of brushed it off. I was like, I wasn't worried about it. And so then she was like, "No, really." Like,
did she seem nervous? Like,
not nervous, but she seemed concerned.
Okay.
And I don't know if the girls were looking for him or whatnot. I have no idea. She just said that she could not find him. And I was like, "What do you mean?" I didn't understand. A lot about that day I didn't understand. But it wasn't long after Scott came up. Again, you don't go on that property and not show up immediately. And he came up and I asked him, I said, "Have you seen daddy?" And he was like, "No, I haven't seen him." And so then it just escalated into, it's all kind of a blur, but it escalated into, we need to find him. And
Did Scott say anything else that was odd or weird?
Well, I don't know if it was when I decided to search the house and just walk through it, or like, I don't know which one came first, or like, I know I called Chris. I know I called Emily. I know I called Angela. I know I texted him. I emailed him. I called him. And none of those nobody knew where he was. But at some point I decided, I was like, I'm going to go look in the house. And I started in the upstairs. But before I stepped foot in that house, Scott looked at me and said, "I'm going to go look for a missing gun."
He said that to you?
He said that to me. And I remember.
As you're standing here at this door right here, this green door?
Yes.
Okay. And he just like grabbed you by the arm and said, "I'm going to look for a missing gun."
He didn't grab me by the arm, but he just turned and he put his hand on the door and he said, "I'm going to go look for a missing gun." And I'm like, and I kind of like, I remember, I was like, "What is he talking about?" And she was like, "I don't know." And so he went into the house, and
so he was the first one in the house before you went in there.
He walked in the door first. I don't know where he went, because when I went straight up the stairs. I looked upstairs, I looked on the middle floor, and then I went to the bottom floor. And then that's when I proceeded to go outside.
Did you go up these stairs?
Correct.
And that's just walking straight in the door?
Straight in the door.
And if you take a right here, is that the kitchen?
Correct.
Okay. And that's looking back out that door?
Yes.
And you went upstairs. What did you do upstairs?
Just looked to see if he was anywhere. There was a door that went to like an attic, like a walk-in attic, and I checked everywhere.
So this was the kitchen. Obviously, there's no furniture or anything, but this is the general layout of the home at the time.
Correct.
All right. So where did you go next after going upstairs?
I just walked to the main level. I don't know if I walked in the master bedroom. That would have been to the right, dive straight back from there. And then I walked in the basement.
Where did you go in the basement?
Probably into my dad's room. That would have been in that hallway right there.
Going towards these doors here?
No, the other way.
The other direction?
His bedroom was there. And then he had a bathroom that was over there straight back too. I probably would have looked there, I assume, just to see if he was there since it was his room, and there was the living room. And then I just walked straight into his office because you could pass by the theater room. And I went into his office and he wasn't in there.
Okay, so this thing they've got listed on this Thrasher 17, this workshop, that was his office?
Yes.
Okay. And nothing, when you walked down into the basement, did you see anything out of place?
No.
And because you've been down there, I mean, how often would you go to the basement?
I mean, every time we were over there, we would probably most likely go down in the basement because my dad was always working in his office.
So when you were down there, did you notice anything, this looks like a bunch of very fine furniture. Did you notice anything broken?
Mm-mm.
Did you, what's underneath these candles appears to be glass fixtures holding up the candles.
Correct.
Anything out of place?
No.
Did you
Not that I
notice
recall.
any blood?
No.
Now, had you been there the weekend before, did you ever notice anything about your father being bit by a dog or anything like that?
Yes. When we walked into Jay Christopher's, my husband and I was on the right, he was on the left, and my dad was in front of us, and he was walking up the stairs because it was like a few stairs to go up into Jay Christopher's, I believe. And it was an awful, like, purple dog bite on the back side of his leg, like right above that, whatever, I guess that tendon that is. And my husband said, "Damn, Gary, like, what happened to your leg?" He said, "That damn dog bit me," meaning Motley, her little her little terrier dog.
So Motley was a kind of an ankle biter.
Yeah.
Essentially.
Yes, I don't like that dog.
For lack of a better term. But you saw with your own eyes this injury to your dad's leg.
Yes, it was bad.
And it was from the weekend before his death.
It was purple by the time I saw it, and red. It looked bad.
Okay.
Enough for us to notice it.
So you walked past this dining room. These pictures were taken on the day of the 5th. This is Thrasher 81. You walked past this dining room, and this is how it looked?
Yes, sir.
On that day? You notice anything broken or out of place there?
No.
This was your mom's room?
Correct.
Where was the mudroom in the house?
We just passed it. There was like the mudroom was the long kind of hallway, and it had a desk and cabinets, and then that was off of the mudroom, and it had the washer and dryer. My dad had his cowboy hat hung up on the wall to the left there. And that was the mudroom, and then there was
This
a
is
pantry.
your dad's cowboy hat?
Yeah.
Okay. And this is Motley's bed?
Yeah, well, all the dogs' bed.
How many dogs lived in the house?
Too many. We had Motley, Lucy. One time we had what we called Elizabeth Taylor. She was a little teacup Shih Tzu. They had Luke, Leroy. They were the biggest white labs I've ever seen in my entire life. And then Scott had a Chihuahua. And I think that's all the dogs he had. I know he had some cats too, but the cats never came in the house.
Did your dad tell you where he was bitten by the dog?
For Motley?
Yes.
I mean, it was on the back of his leg.
Well, no. Where in the house? Where was he when it? Did he say?
I don't believe so.
Okay. Did you? So you never would have seen any of these droplets of alleged blood?
No.
And you went down these very stairs on this same day? Yes?
And many times after that.
Walk past these floors?
I would not have been looking.
And the furniture would have been exactly like this on that day?
Yes.
Did Scott ever tell you that this was the drawer where he said the gun was missing from?
No.
Okay. Did you check for any missing guns?
No.
Let's go back to when he said that. He goes in the house. What did he do next?
I don't know what he did. I just know he said, I'm going to go look for missing guns. And I was so taken back because our family doesn't do guns. My dad had like old shotguns that he kept in, whether my mother's, our grandfather's, they were family
kind of in
guns.
this picture above.
Yeah, that was like an old antique gun that belonged to my mother's side of the family. But my dad had like shotguns because he would, I don't know if he went like with his law partners or something, but they would go like dove hunting, I guess, and things like that. So I always remember, as long as I can remember, there were shotguns in like those big long zip up cases. But it's like, as far as like small guns, no.
No. So you never saw any in that house?
No.
Never saw any revolvers?
We would have never owned any.
So even back at y'all called it Hampton Hall?
Mm-hmm.
So you never saw a small snub nose revolver at that house?
It was only shotguns.
Did Chris ever tell you he found a snub nose revolver?
No.
Back at Hampton Hall in the 2012 era? Okay. Or Scott?
No.
Okay.
The only handgun that I knew of back in Hampton Hall was when my brother was in the Army. It was a black handgun. And he had gotten it, I guess, after he got in the Army. I don't know. That was the only one I ever remember seeing, ever.
Yeah. So you walked down here and you knew Scott had been in the house, right?
Yeah.
And you didn't see any of these droplets of blood?
No.
I'm fast forwarding because there's one image I specifically want to ask you. Maybe easier to go to the. Were you ever made aware that a bullet was found right there under that ottoman?
The only time I was ever aware of a bullet was during the preliminary hearing.
Okay. That's the first time you'd ever heard of that.
Correct.
And you don't know if that was, you didn't know anything about it.
No, and I would have never looked there.
So you never saw this bullet?
No.
Laying in the floor?
No.
Do you find it odd that there's nothing around that bullet?
Yeah.
I mean, nothing that would have caught your imagination. No blood, no holes in the chair, nothing. It's just this bullet laying next to a piece of carpet.
If you compare it to all your Netflix documentaries, no, it doesn't make any sense.
So you never saw that?
No.
Okay. So Scott went in the house first before anybody else.
Correct.
That morning. Then what did Scott do? What did everybody do?
I don't remember where he went. I know that I went out my dad's office and you could walk down because I knew he was making the burn pile on like July 3rd because I remember Chris went over there and all of that, and that was known. And so I had walked down and my mother came up shortly behind me and I saw one stream of like smoke coming off of the top of it. And there was like one stick that was laying by the side and I just picked it up and tossed it on there and she was there and I was like, it's still like smoldering. She was like, yeah, it's going to be hot for a while. And I was like, okay. And I turned around and looked up and Scott was standing at the top of the hill, like where the driveway is, with both arms on his hips, just staring down at us. And at the time I was just like, mental image, I guess. And I was just like, okay. So I walked the edge of the property because
there's a pretty steep hill there. Did you go all the way down that steep hill?
I didn't think it was steep, but I went down there. I mean, I probably had sandals on, but I walked all the way down. I mean, in my mind, I'm thinking something happened to my dad. He's been out here working on the property, may have fallen out. Let's go look for him. So I'm searching everywhere. And I go walk that property line and I go over the dam that's by the left of the pond if you're standing on that side. And I walked up to the barn, probably walked either through the barn or around the barn. I don't really remember.
Now, I ask you this. Do you ever remember around this time Scott saying anything about the placement of the tractor? Did he bring that up? Did you hear that?
No.
Okay. All right, go ahead. Where you walked?
Walked up there. I was calling out his name, trying to find him. I was getting desperate at this point and hoping I would find him. And I just had this gut feeling that something was wrong. And I had turned and walked down the driveway. And I was standing right as the driveway dips. And Scott calls me.
On your phone?
On my phone. And I'm looking over the pond and kind of just standing there at the fence. And he goes, Amanda, like something to the tune of like, Daddy's in this burn pile. Like, I know what I've seen. I've been in Iraq. I know what burned bodies looked like. And I'm just sitting there on the phone going, what are you talking about? And he was like, there's something in this burn pile. And I was like, what are you talking about? And pure just denial, I guess. And either he hung up the phone or I hung up, but I immediately called Chad and I said, you need to get here right now. This is what Scott is saying, and you need to come get Cameron. You have to come get your daughter. And next thing I know, I don't know if he walked over. I mean, everything, your whole world stops. He came over and grabbed me by the arm as hard as he could, and he got in my face.
What is who we talking about?
Scott.
Okay.
He got in my face and he screamed at me. He said, I know what I saw. I know what it is, Amanda. And I was just, again, going like, what? And next thing I know, he said he called the 911, paramedics, whatever. And I walk up to the driveway. And there's like a fork in the road.
I have to ask you this question and I'll move on from this topic quickly. But you walked down to the burn pile earlier. And you and your mom looked at it together. And neither one of you saw what you would believe to have been human remains.
Thank God, no.
But you say Scott was up behind you on the hill just staring at you both.
Yes.
Okay. So going back to when the paramedics arrived, what happened next?
I was standing in the driveway and my mom had walked up. And I was like, what is going on? She said, I don't know. She's just guessing. I don't know. And I was just in shock at this point. And next thing I know, fire trucks, paramedics, and all of this. And she just said, why is he holding them up at the end of the driveway? And I said, I don't know. I have no idea. And it felt like an eternity. And I refused to go over there. I didn't want to go over there. And this poor paramedic, I'll never forget him. He was standing there with a gurney and he goes, I'm so sorry for your loss. And that was the first time anybody ever told me about my dad being dead. And I said, so you're telling me that my dad is in that burn pile back there? And he just looked at me in shock. It was just like, he couldn't say anything back. And Chris was sitting on the bed of his truck, just looking down at the ground. He didn't say anything.
He didn't say anything.
No.
And what was your brother Scott doing at that time?
I don't know. I guess they were over there. Him and my mom. I don't know.
Did your brother? And I think I'm going to ask the judge after this question to go ahead and break here, because then we're going to go ahead and start talking about what happened after this day. But did your brother say anything else concerning at that time? And he'd mentioned a gun. Did he say anything else that resonates in your memory?
Which one, Chris or Scott?
Either one.
No, Chris, no.
What about Scott?
I don't think I talked to Scott much after that. I think he was off. I don't I don't really recall. I really felt like every bone in my body was broken at that point. I remember talking to Hayes for a little bit and standing at the fence. And he could have told me I had purple hair and 5 eyes. I wouldn't have recalled. And I just kept going through my head of just like, if he's gone, he's like, our life has changed forever. It was awful. I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy.
I'm going to show you what has been previously marked as, I believe, bot song 4. Is this you?
Yes.
Were you aware there was a trail camera on the property?
No, not really.
Okay. And is this your mother?
Yes.
Okay. And that's bot song 5. And who is this?
Scott.
Is that also Scott?
Yes.
I'm going to ask you a question, and then I think we should probably go ahead and break before we move on to the next phase. Would it shock you to know that Scott Farris deleted? That's a picture of him backing away from the phone, from the trail cam after deleting the trail cam at that very moment as y'all are searching for your daddy.
Yes. It would shock me. We were looking for my dad. Why? I don't, like, again, I didn't know that he had a trail camera, but that is concerning.
Judge, I think we should break.
It's here. So we'll break for lunch. We're going to take an hour, so we'll start back up at 1 o'clock.
Okay, that's very. Well, this is quite impactful. The good news is we will be shutting down before Corn Pub comes in. So at least we missed that. We dodged Corn Pub, thankfully. So it's been a good stream without her. So obviously we won't say that to her face if she does pop in. Anyway. Right. This is split into 2 streams. Obviously, I don't want to get copyrighted, so it's split up into 2. Lunch break now. Please go and have your lunch. This will redirect you straight to the other stream if you want to chat. If not, come back at 1 o'clock Eastern when it'll be live again. But yeah, I'll be going live at dodge the time I put in. I just put another time in last night, not knowing what time we are going to go live. So yeah, so with that, go and have your lunch, go and do whatever you want. I know it's 4 o'clock. There you go. Sarah P's got it there. Please, people, don't tell Corn Pub, whatever you fucking do. Let her go missing somewhere. So we do not want her here. But you could chat here or you can chat on the other one. So with that, I'll see you in an hour's time on the other one. Thank you, people. As always, I love you all. And yeah, see you at 1 o'clock. I'm tired. I'm falling asleep. Thank you, everyone. See you in a little bit. I'm going to leave my bum, have a little bit of rest here. See you in a bit.